Chapter 1181. Chen Shang wanted to quickly gather all the heaven-earth killing methods, but he did not know where the other parts were. He could only make himself stronger now, and when he found out where the other parts were, he would be able to quickly take them away. Do you want to return to the dragon subduing school now? Duan Chong asked. I'm not too worried. After you go back, you can only tell Elder Li that I'm free, and let him formulate a plan to secretly assist the Chen Martial Continent, and it would be best if he contacted the principal of the Devil Subduing College. I believe that if the Fire Divine Palace attacks the Chen Martial Continent, he will definitely bring in the forces of the demon and devil realms. Chen Shang still had to go to that underground palace to completely destroy Fire Divine Palace's plans to revive him. Ice Emperor was actually such a terrifying person, he could not be reborn inside the new Imperial Heaven world. I understand, I will find the location of the Sacred Beast's ancient realm as soon as possible. Duan Chong nodded his head. He had already known where Sacred Beast's ancient realm was, but the danger in Fire Divine Palace was still not over. He was worried that Chen Shang would go and take a risk in Sacred Beast's ancient realm at this critical moment, and felt that he should at least wait until the matter of Fire Divine Palace's attack on Chen Martial Continent was over before he could tell Chen Shang about the matter of Sacred Beast's ancient realm. Chen Shang and Duan Chong parted ways in the Profound Ice City. Duan Chong returned to the Dragon Subduing School, and Chen Shang left the city to search for the underground palace. He knew that the underground palace was very important before, so he told Long Shui to remember the location of the underground palace. This way, he could quickly find it in the future. Chen Shang felt that there shouldn't be too many strong practitioners guarding that underground palace. At the very most, there would be some very powerful formations, and he reckoned that there weren't many strong practitioners in the Fire Divine Palace, and right now, they needed to go all around to pull some people into the alliance. There would also be some Profound Ice City's headquarters and Profound Ice City's guarding that place. Last time in the underground palace, Chen Shang had killed two of the stronger ones as well. If he met another expert of that level, he would immediately use his super old poison. After 2 days, Chen Shang used the shrinking step and spatial travel to travel. Right now, he could see the tall mountain from afar, and the underground palace was built right under the mountain. Just as he had guessed, that mountain was shrouded in a strong array formation. After the last incident, the Fire Divine Palace reinforced the array defense. Chen Shang didn't know if he could sneak in like last time. The entrance is gone. Chen Shang turned into snow and used his divine power to observe the entire mountain. The hole that led to the belly of the mountain had already disappeared, but the underground palace was still there. It's a very tight array. If the god power touches it, it might cause a lot of commotion. As for the powerful array inside, I can't see it. I don't dare to use the god power to spy on it right now, or else it'll attract their attention. Long Shui said. Chen Shang observed for a while and discovered that the array had blocked the snow and wind. The space was also very stable and it was difficult to penetrate. This time, the Fire Divine Palace had invested a lot into the array. There will be people patrolling outside at regular intervals. I can feel their residual aura. Long Shui said in excitement. Chen Shang immediately understood and laughed. As long as those patrolling soldiers come out, I will think of a way to hide on their bodies and let them bring me in. Even if someone had heard of it, they did not think that it was something that a human could use. It was a high-level ability from the Imperial Dragon Clan, thus, Chen Shang was able to use it and transform himself into a variety of things that could be used to infiltrate. It was a small team, with 10 people dressed in white, wearing white, and wearing a white robe and a white hat. They were all Immortal Grade S, and the fire attribute and HES within their bodies were extremely thick, which showed that they were all Fire Divine Palace S experts. In the eyes of the new Imperial Heaven world, these 10 people were already considered very strong. They were all existences that surpassed the Nirvana realm. Chen Shang, who had turned into flying snow, controlled himself to float onto one of the person's body. Then, he turned into a snow-white mosquito, hiding under the person's wrinkled clothes. These people were patrolling around the mountain, mainly for the sake of discovering the people who were approaching immediately. Normally, those who weren't from Fire Divine Palace would be killed by them, which was what Chen Shang heard from their conversation. They would patrol for 3 days in a row before changing shifts. When they switched shifts, they were also 10 people who were on the same level as them. It was finally time for the shift change. Chen Shang had already felt that those people had brought him into the powerful formation, and then transferred a hidden transmission array to the underground palace. It was difficult for people to travel through space. This was all because of the last time Chen Shang sneaked in, which was why Fire Divine Palace used this technique. But now, Chen Shang had still managed to sneak in, and it was much easier than last time. The Fire Divine Palace had been around for a long time, and knew how to set up many powerful ancient formations. For example, the 10 people who had just returned needed to enter an array formation to be able to distinguish their blood and qi. This was to prevent others from impersonating patrolling soldiers from sneaking in. After entering the array, Chen Shang suddenly felt a mystical power drilling into his body. Then, he saw the array give off a strong ray of light and it started to shake. Crap, I've been discovered. Chen Shang never thought that this large formation would have this kind of ability. He had initially planned to attach himself to that person's body and follow them into the depths, but he never thought that the large formation would actually sense his existence and even cause such a commotion. That magical power that was able to enter Chen Zhang's body caused Chen Shang, who had turned into a mosquito, to let out a white glow. At this moment, several elders had already arrived outside the array, and were able to see the dazzling mosquito. To be able to cause such a commotion in this formation, this is no ordinary mosquito. An old man's face was gloomy. He took out a small pagoda, and activated it to create a powerful suction force. Chen Shang could feel his body flying towards the small pagoda. If this carried on, he might even be sealed again. Let's go all out. Everyone saw the small mosquito suddenly flash with a strong golden light. Then, an average-looking middle-aged man appeared with a black hammer in his hand. Chapter 1182. They didn't think that a mosquito could have such a high level of cultivation. At this moment, everyone thought that the person in front of them was a mosquito that had transformed into a demon, and that it might have been him last time. Just as everyone was in shock, the gray and tattered hammer in Chen Zhang's hand had already smashed towards the small tower that was producing a huge suction force. The powerful pressure caused the elder's face to change. When he realized that the hammer was not an ordinary item, it was too late. The hammer of God had already smashed down ferociously. The golden light was accompanied by a gush of splinters. Those who weren't strong enough had their bodies pierced through by the splinters and were badly mutilated. Chen Shang only used the power of his body of heavenly sage to have such power. Of course, the power produced by the hammer of God was also very strong. The elderly man holding the pagoda had the heaviest injuries. His upper body had a large hole in it. Chen Zhang's hammer was the closest to him. Body of heavenly sage activated the hammer of God, instigating a very strong penetrative force, causing a blood hole to appear on the elderly man's body. A single strike had exterminated one of their experts. The most frightening thing was that they did not feel any elemental energy fluctuations. The person in front of them seemed to be using brute force to attack them. This was the first time they had seen someone with such great brute strength. This was the first time they had heard of such a thing. Chen Shang swept his gaze across the people around him. There were 10 in charge of patrolling worldly immortals, and they all had some injuries, all caused by the broken pieces of the small pagoda from earlier. The other 3 elders were also from Immortal Grade S, but they were in the late stage of worldly immortal stage. Everyone here belonged to the Fire Divine Palace. Although everyone was a little afraid of Chen Shang, they all made their moves at the same time, using their strongest powers to attack Chen Shang. You overestimate yourself. With Chen Zhang's wave of the Hammer of God, both its speed and strength had reached the limit. The blades and swords that were attacking him, whether or not they touched the Hammer of God, would be destroyed by a strong wave of energy. The weapons that they thought they were powerful were all made of mud. They could not even withstand a single blow, and were all shattered by Chen Zhang's hammer. Everyone was blown away by Chen Zhang's hammer, while Chen Shang also disappeared at that moment, appearing like a ghost behind an old man. He raised his hammer, and struck towards the old man's head with lightning speed. Boom! The powerful force instantly reassembled the air, causing a series of explosive sounds to ring out. When the hammerhead struck the old man's head, a vast and berserk power suddenly poured into the old man's body, instantly erupting into a pool of blood, causing one's scalp to go numb. At this moment, no one wanted to be hit on the head by the black hammer. It was simply a judge's hammer, whomever was struck. At this moment, everyone was starting to regret. If they didn't find that despicable mosquito, then it was possible that it was just trying to sneak in to steal something. At that time, they would only be scolded a bit, but now that they found out the mosquito monster was fighting, seeing its power, they all felt terrified. After Chen Shang killed one of them, he then took a strange step and floated to the side of another person. With another lightning strike, he used his berserk energy to smash an old man into pieces. Boom, boom, boom. Those who screamed in panic were beaten to death by Chen Shang one by one. Chen Zhang's attack was just too strong, and his speed was too fast, making it hard for people to escape. Even the fastest one would become Chen Zhang's target. Soon, only the old man controlling the golden bell was left. This old man was the strongest person here, and he had been on high alert from the very beginning. The other elders who had died were not weak, but Chen Shang had taken the initiative to strike first and annihilate them. If they had been on high alert and joined forces to defend, Chen Shang might not have been able to win so easily. Who exactly are you? It can't be that this is the first time you've come in here, right? Until now, the old man was still very calm. It could be seen that he was different from the other people who were struck to death by a hammer. You must be people from the Fire Divine Palace. You are looting everywhere in the profound cold ancient realm. You are lucky, snatching me once. At that time, your people would have already been annihilated by me, and then, I would have followed up on my way here. If you did not steal from me, then so many things wouldn't have happened. What Chen Shang had said was the truth. He was currently being besieged by a small team sent by the Fire Divine Palace, which let him know of the Fire Divine Palace's scheme here. The Fire Divine Palace thought that they were invincible and that they could do whatever they wanted in the profound cold ancient realm, but they had met Chen Shang. Since you know that we are from the Fire Divine Palace, and you dare to provoke us, this is not a wise move. Don't think that just because you can get in here twice, you think that you are invincible. Looking at his expression, he was actually not afraid of Chen Shang at all. Sooner or later, you will be in our hands. If you want to kneel down and beg for mercy, and become the slave of our Fire Divine Palace, you might have a way to survive. Quote. Oh, of course, Chen Shang would not think that the underground palace was so small, but he was still not afraid. As long as there was no immortal king, he would be able to leave anytime. The old man's face turned pale, the flames on his body ignited, the golden bell he controlled flickered, and then produced a huge buzzing sound. The sound was extremely powerful, causing Chen Zhang's eardrums to hurt. It actually caused the divine power in his head to become chaotic, causing him to feel a headache. Golden bell lights shot out in all directions, resonating non-stop, as though summoning something, and Chen Shang was struck by the sound waves to the point where his head was splitting apart. Just as he was about to use his energy to counterattack, his vision suddenly turned black, and then, an even more intense bell sound reverberated in his ears. Ah! Chen Shang roared. He knew that he was trapped by the golden bell. The innate qi inside Chen Zhang's dantian suddenly started to surge. The dense innate qi inside the 35 heaven pills started to surge out, converging, knocking against each other, exploding, fusing with each other, transforming into dragon power, which then rushed towards the bones, muscles, blood channels, and blood vessels on Chen Zhang's arm, causing his entire arm to swell up. When the physical strength of the dragon power and body of heavenly sage merged together, the power was boundless. In addition to the powerful hammer of God, the power was even more terrifying. Smash your broken clock! Chen Shang roared. He turned the hammer around and struck at the golden bell that was enveloping him, releasing a burst of power that shook the entire underground palace, causing some parts of it to crumble. The divine hammer, driven by an extremely powerful force, smashed apart that sturdy great bell and shattered it into pieces. Those fragments flew in all directions and penetrated into the thick stone wall. Chapter 1183. The strong sound pierced through the thick layer, thinking back to when it was in the sky above profound cold ancient realm, and this underground palace was trembling from the sound again and again. The old man had a lot of treasures, but he took out a black shield to block the flying debris. His powerful gold bell had been destroyed, causing him to feel a pain in his heart. It was a good immortal equipment, even if it was rare in the heaven realm, it was still shattered by the unremarkable black hammer. Chen Shang took a deep breath, the pain from the bell was gone. This old man really does have some skill. He's not an ordinary old man. If it was an ordinary worldly immortal, he would have long been smashed into mincemeat. There are a lot of people rushing over. Although they are not very strong, it is not a problem for them to stall you for some time. Long Shui warned her. Although Chen Shang had a strong body of heavenly sage and a very powerful strength, allowing him who had just passed the 7 nirvana tribulations to kill any worldly immortals in the middle stages, it would take him a long time to defeat the late-stage worldly immortal with his rich combat experience. Knowing that the others were about to arrive, the old man revealed a smile. As long as he could stall Chen Shang for a while, he would have the chance to kill Chen Shang. Don't be complacent. Chen Shang suddenly waved his hand. The old man was startled, and anxiously placed the black shield in front of him, but he did not have any attack, but there was a faint fragrance coming from it. Just now, when Chen Shang waved his hand, he scattered a black powder. This was the black blood magic sunflower powder he refined. It was a highly toxic object. He refined it when he was sealed, and the powder that he sprinkled out earlier was highly concentrated and made from it. Just from the small amount of powder just now, he used 10 black blood magic sunflower, so as long as he breathed in even a little, it was equivalent to inhaling large amounts of poison. After being refined, the poison became even stronger and spread much faster. The elder didn't expect the fellow before him to be so sinister, possessing such powerful poison that he was unable to guard against. Even though it was just a small inhalation, he could feel the poison spreading throughout his body at a rapid pace. Despicable, the old man cursed as he felt the blood in his body swelling up. His skin had turned as black as ink. The symptoms of the black blood magic sunflower's poisoning were like this. The blood turned black and expanded crazily, allowing people to blow it up. It's the black blood magic sunflower. After the old man found out what poison it was, he anxiously took out a green pill and consumed it. Chen Shang had already started cultivating the dragon power, and his physical body combined together and smashed down with his hammer. Bang! Although the old man was poisoned, he could still use the power within his body. He hurriedly used his shield to block, but the powerful impact caused his entire body to feel numbness and pain, speeding up the spread of the poison. Chen Shang thrashed about crazily, instantly becoming more than 10 hammers. Furthermore, his strength was about the same every time, sometimes increasing even a little. After hammering on for a few hundred times, the old man's shield would have cracks appear. When Chen Shang saw this, he gathered his strength and struck. The iron hammer shone with a rainbow light. The strong pressure fluctuated in the air, causing the air to tremble and the ripples to spread out. Boom! The hammer smashed down, the gigantic shield finally shattered, the pieces flew out like beams of light. The elderly man was even more shocked by the hammer to the point of spitting out black blood. He was poisoned now, and was unable to use all of his strength to activate the shield, if not he would have been destroyed by Chen Shang that quickly. HMPH. You want me to be your slave? You aren't even worthy enough to carry my shoes. Chen Zhang's hammer smashed into the old man's left shoulder, and the powerful force tore apart the arm that was being pierced by the black blood. Fire Divine Palace, let me tell you, I am here for you, not to steal anything. I am here to destroy this place. I have already said that you have offended the wrong person. Destroying this place is only the beginning of my revenge against Fire Divine Palace. As he spoke, Chen Shang had already hammered down several times. The old man was poisoned, although he had powerful antidotes, but that would still take some time, and facing Chen Zhang's crazy attacks during this period of time, he could still be considered dead. The black blood magic sunflower powder was not a super old poison after all, otherwise, Chen Shang would have been done for long ago. However, he was extremely satisfied with the effects of the black blood magic sunflower, since there was nothing to worry about after using this poison, and the poison was very strong. Only this old man with a high level of detoxification pill and a strong power could resist it for such a long time. If it was anyone else, they would have already been covered in black blood. No matter who you are, you will die a horrible death if you offend the Fire Divine Palace. Our Fire Divine Palace's strongest Hall Master is a future 10 Heaven Supreme Lord. The old man said savagely. No matter who he is, I will take care of him. Chen Shang smashed his hammer on the old man's head, killing him. Chen Shang already knew that the strongest person in the Fire Divine Palace was the Fire Emperor. Of course he wasn't afraid. Have you found where the warehouse is? Chen Shang asked Long Shuiyi. I found it. There are a lot of people rushing over from that road. Long Shuiyi said. Above the warehouse was where the Ice Emperor was located. Then I'll kill my way through. Chen Shang was holding onto a hammer of God. This godly hammer was originally meant for forging divine equipment, but now that it was used by Chen Shang to kill people, if the divine craftsman knew about it, who knew how he would feel? Before this group of people could even react, they could already feel a strong power charging over. That power carried the aura of a dragon as well as a very berserk body's power, and when it charged over, it was as if a huge dragon was charging over with its life on the line. It was just a single swing of the hammer by Chen Shang, but a very powerful chi aura was produced. It was nothing to deal with these minions who had endured through the 7 to 8 stages of nirvana tribulation, just like harvesting straw. When that energy rushed over, it turned these people into smithereens. If I can endure the 8 nirvana tribulations, dealing with the late period of human immortal would be much easier. Chen Shang wished he could break through immediately, but he had just passed the 7 nirvana tribulations and it was not easy either, so it would be difficult for him to reach it in a short period of time. He sprinted all the way back. As long as there were people charging in front of him, he would strike out with his hammer and sweep away all obstacles. Unless they were worldly immortals, they would all be instantly killed. There were a lot of people here in the Fire Divine Palace, and all of them were part of the hidden forces in the Fire Divine Palace. If this group of people were transferred over when they were attacking the Chen Martial continent, it would be quite a strong force, capable of sweeping away many large sects. There are indeed no immortal monarchs here, otherwise I would have come out a long time ago. Chen Shang had already reached the front door of the warehouse and fiercely smashed it open. When the 2 elders saw him, they were struck twice and all died. Chapter 1184. There were quite a lot of them in the warehouse, but the quality was not very high. It was not as good as the ones he stole before, but it was still of medium quality, around 2,000 pieces. The cold chi emitted by these profound beings were all gathered together, and rushed up, used to revive the Ice Emperor. When the profound being was sealed, Chen Shang had experienced it himself. Seeing the colorful profound being in front of him, he was ecstatic and quickly kept it within his own storage magic treasure. Is there no one else in Fire Divine Palace? Even after Chen Shang quickly finished collecting the profound being, no one came to the warehouse. Above the warehouse was where the Ice Emperor was. Chen Shang had gathered all of his strength and unleashed a punch, the powerful energy transforming into a huge electric light fist that smashed into the stone floor above. Boom, boom, boom. The entire underground palace suddenly started to shake violently. Stones of various sizes fell down, and the thing on top was collapsing. Again, Chen Shang saw that the hole was not big enough, and when the heaven-blasting palm flew out, the shaking this time was even more intense than before, causing the top of the huge warehouse to be filled with cracks. It seems like it's really not enough. Chen Shang unleashed a few more palms of heaven-blasting palm-s and struck the cracks on the wall, causing the stone wall above the warehouse to shatter. Just at this moment, a booming sound came from above and landed heavily on the ground. A blast of biting cold air accompanied by a thick mist filled the shabby warehouse with frost. Even Chen Shang was forced to retreat by the intense cold force. The cold force seeped into his body and made him feel extremely cold. After the white mist that shrouded the area dissipated, Chen Shang saw that in the middle of the huge warehouse, there was a huge ice coffin. Looking at this ice coffin, Chen Zhang's heart jumped. He had already guessed that Ice Emperor was inside this ice coffin and felt that terrifying cold energy from before. It made him feel that this Ice Emperor seemed to be alive. If this guy is still alive, then we're in trouble. Chen Shang took out the hammer of God, mustered his courage and walked towards the huge ice coffin. The closer he got, the more intense the cold power became, causing him to feel fear, that kind of emperor's might, but he still kept walking forward step by step. Before coming here, he had already made up his mind to completely destroy this Ice Emperor, and implement his plan to take revenge on the Fire Divine Palace. When Chen Shang was just 10 steps away from the ice coffin, the coffin's lid suddenly moved, releasing a "ka" sound, which echoed in the huge, deathly still warehouse. Chen Zhang's forehead was instantly drenched in sweat, he clenched his teeth and retreated a few steps. With a loud bang, the lid of the coffin suddenly bounced open. After being struck hard by someone's palm, it shattered into ice crystals. The cold air became even more intense and carried with it the aura of an emperor as well as a strong killing intent. Sorry for the trouble. Sensing this sudden aura, he knew that the Ice Emperor had come out from the ice coffin. HMPH. This should be the second time that you've come here, right? Last time, I was in a deep sleep and was unable to stop you. However, I still remember your aura. Damn you. It was a feminine voice with a hint of anger in it, making one's hair stand on end. A white mist drifted over, and after dispersing, a handsome man with snow-white skin appeared. His face was filled with anger, and when his eyes looked at someone, they caused them to feel an indescribable chill. Their bodies couldn't help but tremble. Chen Shang suddenly felt a burst of cold qi coming from all directions. It was invisible in cold qi, but it was as oppressive as a sword. Chen Shang could clearly feel, if he touched the cold qi, he would definitely bleed. Without a doubt, the person in front of him was Ice Emperor. However, he was not dead, and was still able to escape from the coffin. Chen Shang anxiously waved his hammer, striking the invisible cold qi, releasing waves of strong pressure to dissipate the cold qi. Ice Emperor saw that Chen Shang was able to resolve this move in a few moves, and also realized that the hammer in Chen Zhang's hand was not simple, it could actually strike the invisible cold power that he released. You are Ice Emperor. Chen Shang took a small breath to calm himself down. In front of him was the Ice Emperor, but he was not very strong. Chen Shang guessed that he had not fully recovered, but he still had enough strength. You know me. After knowing his name, he still dared to come and provoke him with no regards to his life. At this moment, he also could not see just how strong Chen Shang was, if not he would not have been frightened by him just now. In the eyes of the Ice Emperor, Chen Shang was someone that he could pinch to death anytime. Chen Shang smiled, tidied up his hair and said, "To tell you the truth, I came here to let you return completely to the West. It's really too tiring for you to be half dead like this, I can end your bitter days here." He had never seen such a wild fellow before. He was one of the 9 Emperor Kings, with the strongest strength. He had fought against the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord before, and only the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord and a few antiques dared to speak such arrogant words to him. However, this fellow in front of him was nothing, he had actually threatened him to die, something that the 10 days in Great Yan Jing could not do. Since you know that I am the Ice Emperor, then you should know why I am here. Back then, 10 days ago, Great Yan Jing could not kill me so completely, but you think you can, and who do you think you are? Even if the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord was reborn, he would not be able to do the same. The Ice Emperor sneered. That year, he and Fire Emperor teamed up, but they still could not capture 10 Heavens Supreme Lord, and he was even beaten half to death by him. Chen Shang reckoned that the person in front of him did not have much strength. Although he was a Ice Emperor, it was useless not to have genuine strength. Oh, you can do it or not with your mouth. Chen Shang raised his hammer, and with a stride, he jumped over, and fiercely hammered down at 10 Heavens Supreme Lord's handsome face. Ice Emperor was furious, he never thought that this person would be so ruthless, he directly slapped his face, he was someone who loved faces as if they were his own life. Who was he? But he had fought against 10 Heavens Supreme Lord before, his battle experience was extremely rich, and his vigilance was extremely strong, especially when people were attacking his face, he could instantly block them. Of course, Chen Shang didn't think that he could break Ice Emperor's beautiful pill refining with just a hammer, so when he hit something hard, it wasn't surprising at all. It was a hand. Ice Emperor blocked his own face with his palm, and there was even a layer of ice condensed on top of his palm. Chen Zhang's divine hammer had heavily smashed onto his palm, and only landed a few ice shards. The godly hammer did not hit, but Chen Zhang's other hand struck towards Ice Emperor's abdomen, the power of his holy body merged with the dragon power, the force was extremely strong, and after releasing the power of the heaven-blasting palm, the shock wave was even more powerful. Boom! When the palm energy came out, it released an earth-shattering sound that forced Ice Emperor to retreat more than 10 steps. When Chen Shang saw this, his expression turned serious. Earlier, his heaven-blasting palm directly struck Ice Emperor's body, but Ice Emperor did not manage to block it, and only retreated a few steps. From this, it could be seen how powerful Ice Emperor's body was. Dragon power. And also, the strength of your body, this is very unbalanced. Your body's strength is actually stronger than the dragon power, what's going on? That palm strike just now allowed Ice Emperor to see through Chen Zhang's strength. No matter what time it was, this kind of thing was completely illogical. If you think you can kill me just because you have that kind of power, you're a bit too arrogant, aren't you? With that bit of strength of yours, not to mention killing me, you can't even harm me. The one to die will be you. Ice Emperor thought he saw through Chen Zhang's strength. The Ice Emperor suddenly turned into a cloud of smoke and shot towards Chen Shang. It was like a beam of light, the powerful force seemed to want to cut a hole in Chen Zhang's body. Chen Shang brandished the godly hammer, and when the mist was about to attack his body, he smashed the hammer forward, sending Ice Emperor flying. You are courting death. Chen Shang looked at the direction where the mist was falling and snorted coldly. He was currently filled with confidence, because this Ice Emperor was only a lackey. Either finish this fellow or leave this place quickly. You have been here for a while, if the Fire Divine Palace's Immortal King comes, you might be sealed again. Long Shui anxiously warned. Chapter 1185. Chen Shang also wanted to end the battle quickly, but Ice Emperor was still strong. If he wanted to defeat him, he would need a period of time, but time was of the essence. The Ice Emperor was extremely powerful and could transform into a mist. Even if they hit him, he wouldn't be harmed in the slightest, so it was no wonder that he could live for so long. In the past when I rampaged through the 9 heavens and 10 earth, almost everyone who provoked me had their souls destroyed. They didn't even have the chance to reincarnate. Today's fate is the same for you. Ice Emperor suddenly appeared behind Chen Shang, an ice sword in his hand. He pierced towards Chen Shang like lightning. Sword images erupted, enveloping Chen Shang and releasing a wave of bone-piercing icy cold power, causing Chen Shang to almost be frozen and unable to move. That was only you back then. If you were very powerful right now, you wouldn't have fought with me like this. You would have already killed me. Chen Shang bellowed, and released sound waves that scattered the sword chi, then he brandished the ice sword that flew towards Ice Emperor. Ka-cha! The ice sword that was condensed from cold energy was shattered by Chen Shang with a single strike, turning into ice crystals. Chen Zhang's words stabbed into the sore spot of the Ice Emperor. Once a generation of emperors, they looked down upon everything in the world, but now they had fallen into a bitter battle with a nameless nobody. He believed that this was all because of the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord, causing his heart to be filled with rage. Quickly, I sensed someone was approaching this place with my divine sense outside, and it was a large group of people. Long Shui shouted anxiously, "We can't kill this guy, let's go quickly." If he were to continue fighting with the person in front of him, he felt that even if he did not die, his vitality would be greatly damaged. Especially that powerful hammer, which was as powerful as the green dragon demon slain broadsword that he had encountered before. This fellow is also made of flesh and blood. Since that's the case, he should be afraid of poison as well. Chen Shang thought, and then secretly activated the magical corruption gas in his body. If they missed this one time, it would be difficult for him to kill this Ice Emperor again. If the Ice Emperor regained his original strength, then it would undoubtedly make the Fire Divine Palace even more powerful. Even now, I can still kill you. You are just a weakling after all. The lower half of Ice Emperor turned into a cloud of mist, floating towards Chen Shang, her jade-like hands releasing a biting cold chi, pushing out a burst of intense cold wind, enveloping Chen Shang. Chen Shang suddenly took a deep breath and used all his strength to travel through space, arriving behind the Ice Emperor. However, the Ice Emperor soldier did not notice it, because Chen Shang had only teleported using an illusion. However, Ice Emperor only sensed it in that instant. When he realized that it was an illusion, his entire body shivered, and a sense of danger that he had not experienced for many years suddenly emerged in his heart. This feeling of danger was even stronger than the feeling he had when he was facing the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord's attack. Ice Emperor, whose heart was filled with fear, suddenly roared out. However, Chen Shang had already struck him with his palm. This palm was no small matter. It contained a large amount of magical corruption gas S and drunk god powder S. They all poured into Ice Emperor's body. The two strange poisons mixed together. The poison was even more terrifying. After entering Ice Emperor's body, it exploded out, instantly paralyzing Ice Emperor's power. This is what poison? Ice Emperor was extremely frightened. He did not know what poison it was, but he knew that it was definitely a strange poison. When the two strange poisons were combined together, there was a huge change in the poison's properties. Even in Yanjing, he did not discover what poison it was. The poison that sent you on your way. Chen Shang bellowed. Ice Emperor was completely powerless. He had not recovered his strength to the peak in the first place, but facing this kind of strange poison that was wreaking havoc, he was simply helpless. At this moment, he suddenly saw a familiar green light. Chen Shang took out his green dragon demon slain broadsword and hacked down with his blade. Quickly, accurately and ruthlessly, he hacked off Ice Emperor's head. However, the Ice Emperor did not die immediately. In the primordial era, out of the billions of people who stood out, how could someone who could become an emperor be killed so easily? Even if he was poisoned now, he couldn't decompose his powerful body in such a short time. Green dragon demon slain broadsword. Don't think that you can just kill me like that. Even when the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord cut me into 18 pieces, I was able to survive until now. The Ice Emperor asked coldly, but he was still afraid in his heart, because he did not expect Chen Shang to force him into this kind of danger so quickly. Go to hell and ask those guys who were killed by me. If you say that you were killed by a green dragon demon slain broadsword, they will definitely take the initiative to tell you who I am. Chen Shang waved his hand and scattered a layer of grayish-black powder. When it landed on the two halves of Ice Emperor's body, it immediately released a cloud of black smoke that was actually corroding Ice Emperor's powerful fleshly body. Just a moment ago, this Ice Emperor was filled with a large number of magical corruption gas and his body was not immediately decayed by the magical corruption gas, but right now, he was being quickly corroded by the powder. Ah, is a mix of God Eclipse powder and something else. Bastard, you damned bastard, your fate will definitely be even worse than 10 Heaven's Supreme Lords the Ice Emperor wailed a few times as his body slowly melted. These God Eclipse powder were all refined by Chen Shang after he mixed a large number of them into the God Eclipse powder. He had refined them for a very long time, and only managed to refine a pinch of them. Back then, when devil-suppressing Heavenly Venerable was unable to exterminate the poisonous beast Devil God, he was also killed by this move of Chen Zhang's. In this aspect, even Great Yan Jing would probably be inferior to him for 10 days. If you have to blame yourself, you can only blame the idiot's Fire Divine Palace. If it wasn't for them helping you revive and offend me at the same time, you might still be able to live for a very long time. Su Yun said in a low voice. Chen Shang looked at the black-purple liquid on the ground and released a blazing fire, burning it completely. These people had originally wanted to rush into the warehouse, but after hearing from the Ice Emperor's sound transmission, they were told to wait outside. When they found out that the Ice Emperor was going to personally take action, these people naturally felt at ease, but they did not know that the person the Ice Emperor was facing was Chen Shang. Otherwise, they would not be waiting outside with a relaxed expression. The Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace came. When he stepped into the underground palace, he felt that something was amiss, and his face immediately turned deathly pale. Only he could clearly feel that the Ice Emperor's aura had disappeared. The fact that the Ice Emperor would not die, actually died, made the Hall Master find it hard to accept, and he almost lost his balance because he knew what this meant. Even though the 9 Emperor 10 Kings had not received any news for many years, they were still alive, and it was very difficult for them to die, but now, a Ice Emperor had fallen here. Chen Shang had already left the underground palace, and it was a pity that he did not take out the Ice Emperor's heavenly pellet, but even if he did, it would be useless. When he poured in the magical corruption gas and drunk God powder the heavenly pellet was the first place to be poisoned, and the poison should have been condensed there. The matter of reviving the Ice Emperor was originally something that was kept a secret. More than half of the Ice Emperor had resurrected, but they had died again, and this time they had truly died without a complete corpse, their souls scattered. To the Emperor of a generation, this was a tragic death. This Bing Yanjing was killed by his good friend the Fire Emperor. If it wasn't for the fact that the Fire Emperor was in a rush to revive the Ice Emperor so that they could rule the 9 heavens and 10 earth, I might not have bumped into you. Long Shui laughed. That old fellow from Fire Divine Palace nearly fainted when he found out about Ice Emperor. The good show is yet to come. Who asked him to seal me, and he still wants Shenxian to threaten me. He's the one courting death, don't blame me. Chen Shang dashed among the profound cold ancient realm. Currently he was in a very good mood. Originally, Chen Shang had planned to return to the profound ice city, but he saw a group of people on his way there. Amongst them, he recognized one of them, who was the Bai Xian who sold gold dragon ice at the profound Bing S meeting back then. This guy knew of a hidden river that specialized in producing high-quality profound Bing. Chapter 1186. Chen Shang discovered this group of people from afar, but this group of people did not see him. Seeing that this group of people's expressions were off, he immediately hid himself. This Bai Xian seems to have been threatened by someone. Looking at his face, he seems to be at odds with this group of people. Long Shui said. That's right, it was because Chen Shang had discovered this that he had immediately hidden himself. Bai Xian walked in the front amidst the snow and ice, while the person behind him had a fierce expression, looking extremely unfriendly. Bai Xian's expression was tense, and from time to time, he would even be shouted at by the people behind him. Sure enough, within the group, a person shouted, "I'll give you 10 more days. If you can't bring us to find a high-quality profound Bing, we'll chop your son's head off." This guy is definitely selling high-quality profound Bing everywhere, which is why he got himself into trouble. This guy really wants the spar to go crazy. Right now, he was thinking of how to help this Bai Xian. He was sure that this Bai Xian could definitely find those high-quality profound Bing. The man who threatened Bai Xian earlier suddenly took out a square cauldron, and after he shook it, he heard a shout coming from inside. Don't worry, within 10 days, I will definitely bring you all to find the profound Bing. Don't torture my son anymore. Bai Xian immediately said. His face was filled with anger as he looked at the square cauldron in pain. Bai Xian's son was trapped inside the square cauldron. Upon seeing this, Chen Shang immediately flew over, and then used form displacement shadow to bring the square cauldron over. The man holding the square cauldron was originally very proud of himself, but right now, his expression was extremely ugly. The square cauldron that was originally in his hands had actually disappeared. Who the hell are you? Don't you know that this is my great profound being's territory? Quickly kneel down and kowtow a few times. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this place, and actually disturb my sleep. Chen Shang gave an old man's voice that sounded like it carried a strong sense of anger. He also released a strong killing intent that caused people to be afraid. Great profound being ancestor, who was this? That group of people had never heard of him before, but they knew that this old fellow was very strong. Don't you have ears? Didn't you hear what I just said? Quickly kneel down and kowtow, otherwise, you will die. Chen Shang shouted angrily, increasing his killing intent, causing the ice to become even colder. They had been robbed for no reason and had to kneel down and kowtow. These people were pretty strong to be able to come here. Even if the other party was very strong, they would not give in just like that. You're not going to kneel, right? Chen Zhang's voice was incomparably ice cold, and continuously sneered. In that case, all of you should never kneel, only the dead do not kneel. Chen Shang suddenly appeared out of nowhere, holding onto the hammer of God. Just as it appeared, before everyone could even see his face, they could already feel a strong burst of killing intent. The strongest amongst them was only able to pass through the nirvana tribulation. Even the worldly immortal stage experts could be easily killed, let alone people at his level. Chen Zhang's divine hammer swept horizontally across, sweeping towards the few people in front of them. Before those people could regain their senses, the ice-cold divine hammer had already struck their heads. In the blink of an eye, the upper body of the person hit by the godly hammer was shattered by the shockwave released by the godly hammer. I told you all to kneel, but you all didn't kneel. There's no chance for that now. While Chen Shang was speaking, a few more people's bodies exploded due to the divine hammer, dying on the spot. They died in extremely miserable states, and just looking at them would cause one's scalp to go numb. Don't kill us. We are disciples of the Sacred Fire School, and our relationship with the Sacred Fire School is shallow. If you offend us, Before the man could finish speaking, Chen Shang heavily smashed the top of his head and a powerful force surged into the soft body, smashing it into pieces and turning it into a blood mist which drifted away with the wind. I hate Fire Divine Palace the most. It seems like I will definitely visit him when I have time. Chen Shang waved his divine hammer and killed these people who were showing off their might ruthlessly. The snow-white ice was dyed red, but it was quickly covered by snow again. Chen Shang took out the square cauldron and released the person imprisoned inside. Bai Xian watched on dumbfoundedly from the side. He was not afraid of death, but he was worried about his own son. When he saw that Chen Shang did not have any intentions of killing him, and even released his son, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Bai Xian was moved, he almost kneeled down to express his gratitude. Your son isn't too strong. Hurry up and bring him away from here. Chen Shang said indifferently, he had the appearance of an expert. Thank you, senior, for saving me. Chen Shang waved his hand, then asked, I want to ask you something. Have you heard of Chen Shang before? Bai Xian's heart jumped, and he anxiously nodded his head. Of course I've heard of it. How is he now? He's a good friend of mine. I only found out that he's trapped in a city in profound cold ancient realm. However, after I entered the depths of profound cold ancient realm, I delayed him for a while, but I don't know if he's still alive or not. The reason why Chen Shang said this, was so that when he looked for Bai Xian in the future, this Bai Xian would work with him even more enthusiastically, and bring him to look for those profound being. Sigh, he has been trapped for almost 10 years, and although he did not die, he might be trapped in the future. There is a Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace guarding that city, and it is said that the Hall Master is one of the top experts in the immortal world. If Senior really wants to save him, I hope you can consider it further. Chen Shang nodded his head, then floated away as he ran towards the profound ice city, instantly disappearing without a trace. That square cauldron is very powerful, it can be used to trap people. The formations inside are very old, and the methods used to refine them are all lost, and the materials are very special. Even in Heaven Realm, it would be hard to find. Su Meiyao said. Looks like that Sacred Fire School is quite powerful. There is such a thing, but it's mine now. Chen Shang chuckled. In the future, I can use this thing to capture people. These things are specially used to trap people. There are some sharp thorns on the walls. When this cauldron is shaken, the people inside can easily be pierced. Su Meiyao laughed. The square cauldron was only the size of a brick, but it could become bigger. Chen Shang erased the consciousness above the four-legged cauldron, and then dripped a drop of blood on it to confirm that it was his master. He came to the profound ice city and looked at the sealing formation from a close distance. The seal formation was still activated with a large number of spar, and the hall master of the Fire Divine Palace had yet to return. He was probably searching for clues within the underground palace in order to find the one that killed the Ice Emperor. Chen Shang had investigated some things regarding the Sacred Fire School in the Profound Ice City, and as expected, his relationship with the Fire Divine Palace was very good, and his overall strength was also very strong. He was a refiner sect. When they were attacking the Chen Martial continent, they would always want to take over the mines in the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, and they wanted to capture the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country even more, because the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country was also a very strong refiner sect. There were rumors that leader had sought out Fire Divine Palace's Hall Master several times, and asked him to bring some people to the Chen Martial continent to kill them. This was because only when the Fire Divine Palace's Hall Master personally acts, would they be able to easily take down the Chen Martial continent. Fire Divine Palace had not made any movements during these 9 years, but Chen Shang knew that Fire Divine Palace had a 10-year time limit. If the White Tiger did not come to save him after sealing him for 10 years, the Fire Divine Palace would attack the Chen Martial continent. Now that Chen Shang had come out, he would definitely not allow such a thing to happen. The Chen Martial continent was his route, he had walked out from there, and definitely would not turn that place into a battlefield. Sacred Fire School, thank you for allowing me to do something. Chen Shang had already investigated the location of the Sacred Fire School. He planned to take advantage of the fact that Fire Divine Palace's vitality was severely injured and kill him. Before the Fire Divine Palace attacks the Chen Martial continent, he must weaken the Fire Divine Palace's power as soon as possible, and this Sacred Fire School is the #1 subordinate of the Fire Divine Palace. Now that Chen Shang knows about it, he definitely won't let the Sacred Fire School follow the Fire Divine Palace and attack the Chen Martial continent 1 year later. The forces that forge weapons should have quite a few good things, right? Chen Shang looked at the square cauldron in his hand. He felt that this Sacred Fire School must have a lot of these antiques. Chapter 1187. Chen Shang had been sealed for 9 years, but these 9 years were the period when the Sacred Fire School rose to prominence. At this time, the Sacred Fire School had already become well known by many, and in order to earn more spars, he also created a huge city, which was specifically used to sell the weapons and treasures refined by the Sacred Fire School. Holy Flame City was very hot, because this city was very close to the Sacred Fire Mountain, and Sacred Fire School was built on top of it. It was said that the Sacred Fire Mountain was a very magical volcano, and the Sacred Fire School already controlled the volcano, so they could extract flames from the volcano to refine. Also, within the depths of the volcano, there were many precious ores. However, without a certain level of strength, it was difficult for people to enter the depths of the volcano. The Sacred Fire Mountain was a sacred mountain that many cultivators who cultivated fire yearned for. Because this mountain released a very rich innate chi of the fire attribute, it was extremely beneficial to cultivators who trained in fire, so most of the people in Holy Yan City trained in fire. Even though this place was very hot, this group of people could not feel it. There were many shops selling weapons and treasures here. As Chen Shang walked on the streets, many people called out to him from afar, because those shop owners could tell that he had just entered the city. Although Chen Shang was an alchemist, he still had a certain level of understanding towards artifact forging. Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue were both master refiners. He had spent a period of time with these two girls before, and had also researched some profound spirit grain and great formations with them. When he was free, he would take out the divine book that had records of many powerful great formations. Although the Suzaku divine weapon was at Lu Meng'er's place, if he had a relationship with him, it would still be impossible for him to take one away, so he could only refine a new one. The new Suzaku divine weapon already had the blueprints and materials, but there was one less godly blacksmith who could make divine weapons. At this moment, the Hammer of God was also with him. He felt that if he wanted to refine a new Suzaku divine weapon in the future, he could only rely on him, Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue. When Chen Shang entered the city, he saw a very grand building at the center of the city. Without asking, he knew that it was the Sacred Fire School's shop. Just as he was about to enter the shop, he heard a painful scream. Many people outside immediately looked towards the door, only to see a few middle-aged men dressed in sacred fire school robes carrying a young man with wounds all over his body. When he reached the door, he threw the young man out, allowing the young man to roll down the stairs. This is the result of coming to our sacred flame shop to cause trouble. You actually used a broken weapon on us, the sacred fire school, to be blamed for your skill in smithing. This is your own business, it has nothing to do with us. After that, the man threw out a broken saber beside the boy who was howling on the ground. When the others saw this, they kept quiet, shook their heads, and sighed. Then, they went back to work on their own period of time. The youth had bought a knife from Sacred Flame's store, but it was broken. The youth felt cheated, so he came to ask for an explanation, and was then thrown out after a fierce beating. Chen Shang immediately understood after seeing it, and it just so happened that he was about to come to the Sacred Fire School to find trouble, so he was not afraid of making enemies with the Sacred Fire School. So when he walked over to the teenager's side, he actually took out a relive Dan and placed it in the teenager's mouth. The few burly men at the entrance of Sacred Flame's store also frowned. Someone actually dared to save the man who was beaten up by Sacred Fire School in front of them. This was clearly not giving him face. He was not very strong, and relive Dan were of great use to him. After he recovered, he looked at the big-size man from the Sacred Flame shop angrily, but he had been beaten up once before, so he was not as impulsive as before. He quickly thanked Chen Shang. "This big brother, your name is called. I owe you a relive Dan, and in the future, even if I have to fight with my life on the line, I will definitely return it to you." The relive Dan was extremely precious to him, and eating them for him would be equivalent to saving his life. Otherwise, with his injuries, if he dragged things out a little, he would be crippled. "It's just a piece of relive Dan, don't take it to heart." Chen Shang laughed. If it were not for the fact that he casually took out a relive Dan, the big-sized men from Sacred Fire School would have already come to find trouble. "Big brother, do you want to go in and buy something?" "Please don't go, the things they sell us are just a bit of trash." Seeing the big men staring at him viciously, the young man mustered up his courage and warned Chen Shang. "Little rascal, are you courting death? This is equivalent to smashing our Sacred Fire School's reputation." One of the big-sized men shouted in anger. He wanted to go up, but Chen Shang glared at him fiercely, releasing a burst of power, causing the big-sized man to break out in cold sweat. He retreated a few steps and his legs became weak. Seeing that there was someone with decent strength who was going to fight with the Sacred Fire School, the crowd looked on with interest from the side. Chen Shang picked up the broken blade on the ground and flicked his finger. A ding sound could be heard, and the thick blade actually cracked, turning into a piece of broken metal. "It really is some trash. Little brother, I really bought this from the Sacred Fire School?" Chen Shang asked. With a light flick of his hand, a seemingly sturdy piece of steel shattered into pieces. Everyone couldn't help but doubt his words. Furthermore, for many years, there had been a lot of people here asking for an explanation, but they were all beaten up and thrown out in the end. "That's right, they took my 500,000 spar. I used a rhinoceros horn to increase my strength a bit and the blade broke. I came to find them to argue, but they beat me up without saying a word." The youth knew that the big brother in front of him had extraordinary strength. It was as if he had grabbed onto a lifesaver and was narrating his grievances. Chen Shang laughed coldly. "This trash is actually willing to accept 500,000 spar. If you go to Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, this kind of trash is definitely not allowed to be sold, because it's equivalent to plotting against someone for money and killing them. This Sacred Fire School is actually trying to say that he wants to compete with the Divine Weapon sect, so it turns out that it's just this kind of trash. It's really funny." To say such words at someone else's door was clearly to ruin the situation. The Sacred Fire School men were all kind of bullies. They did not dare to make a move against Chen Shang, and just as they were about to enter the shop to call for help, Chen Shang anxiously shouted to stop them. "Just now, you did it to this little brother. He was speaking the truth. Your things are indeed nothing. He only came here to demand an explanation, and you guys almost crippled him." Those big-sized men were probably used to being rude and unreasonable. Their hearts were filled with rage as they glared at Chen Shang, and one of them shouted loudly, "Then what do you want to do? A tooth for a tooth, of course." As Chen Shang spoke, he had already turned into a gust of wind and flew up. No one saw how he made his move, but those few large men had already been blown into the shop. As they laid on the ground, they they howled, and the shattered bones on their bodies could clearly be seen. Even if you hit a dog, you still have to look at the owner. You're making a ruckus in front of our sacred flame shop, aren't you looking down on us too much? A middle-aged man dressed in black walked out from the shop, his face dark with anger. Chen Shang laughed coldly. Your sacred fire school even dupes children to sell such inferior things to others. This is equivalent to letting others die. Such a power like yours, in my eyes, is worse than dogs. At least dogs will bite people, they will not lie, and they will not kill people. Did you come here specifically to cause trouble? The middle-aged man's voice became even colder. No, I originally wanted to buy a powerful weapon, but I didn't expect to meet you bullying the weak at your doorstep. I can't stand it. Chen Shang took out his blade, and said to the middle-aged man, this is refined by your sacred fire school, right? This kind of trash can be sold for 500,000 spar. That's right, it's from our sacred fire school. Even with 500,000 spar, we can only buy this kind of thing. The middle-aged man laughed coldly. Looking at this break, it should be because you used your powerful strength to smash it. A weapon of this level obviously cannot withstand your strength. If it were me, I would also be able to easily break it. I used 300,000 spar to purchase refining materials from you and then forge a blade. I promise you, you won't easily break it. Chen Shang was indeed not an expert, but he was very confident in this. Chapter 1188. The person who was in charge of this sacred flame shop was definitely not too weak. This middle-aged man was someone who had undergone the 8 tribulations of nirvana, and was considered very strong in the current heaven. To a person at this level, a weapon made from 300,000 spar, it was too inferior. When he said those words at the entrance of Sacred Flame's shop, many people thought that Chen Shang was just spouting nonsense. Therefore, when the middle-aged man from the Sacred Flame shop heard him say those words, he laughed out loud. Forget about the 300,000 spar, even if you use the materials bought by the 300 million spar, don't think of refining a weapon that I can't easily destroy. Chen Shang said. Of course you can make the weapons I refine rotten, but I can guarantee that you won't be able to easily make it messy. If you make the materials for 300 million spar, I'm afraid that I won't be able to make anything because I'm not very proficient in equipment forging. The reason I'm saying this is to let everyone know how your Sacred Flames shop is trying to cheat people. This kind of thing that can't be used can sell for 500,000 spar. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't sell this kind of trash to harm people. The middle-aged man continued to laugh out loud. Since you are not proficient in smithing, and you dare speak such arrogant words about pills, it's really laughable. Let me say it again, in our Sacred Flame shop, the weapons of the 500,000 spar are exactly this kind of goods. Furthermore, it's much better than other shops. If the weapon you refined with 300,000 spar can really make me use a lot of effort to break it, I'll give you the entire Sacred Flame shop. Chen Shang was overjoyed, but he shook his head with a smile. Giving the shop to me, I don't think you can make such a decision yet. Isn't it just a shop? My father is a leader of the Sacred Fire School. You tell me, there are so many people watching here, I will not go back on my word, but if you are unable to do so, you will have to kneel in front of my shop for 3 days and 3 nights, and you will have to kowtow to us and admit your wrongs. Quote. Seeing how the situation had developed, the teenager was worried, afraid that he would harm Chen Shang. Chen Shang said with a smile, no problem, I will pick out the materials worth 300,000 spars from your shop. I hope your shop will not be too dark, or else it will be really difficult. The middle-aged man sneered and said, you are really an outsider, you think that refining is too simple, although the materials for refining are cheap, refiner is not something that can be obtained so easily. Chen Shang asked, then, do you think that refining and refining pills are even more difficult? That person replied, of course it's to refine pills, but even if alchemist wanted to refine pills, he would still need a period of time to familiarize himself with the process. I happen to be an alchemist. After Chen Shang finished speaking, he stepped into the shop, and the middle-aged man's expression changed slightly. If it was anyone else, this middle-aged man might not be so worried, but he knew that there were definitely some basic foundations in the refining of alchemist. He was also clear that after many alchemists had become refiner, they would have more accomplishments, and some would even be able to refine pills. The materials needed to forge a low-grade spirit artifact were worthy of its reputation. There were many, and not a single bit was scarce, materials needed to forge a low-grade spirit artifact. The young man's saber was a third-phase spirit weapon, and this third-phase spirit weapon was based on the formations within the weapons and magic treasures. Generally, a third-phase spirit weapon would have 3 ordinary formations within it, and the refining materials were all ordinary. Looking at the cost, the blade that the kid bought probably only has 50,000 spars, and the materials used are all very crude. The arrays that were carved on them are not precise enough, they are crooked and look like they were made by a newbie. To think that such a thing could actually sell for 500,000 spar, and was said to be a third-phase spirit treasure, but the criteria were met, and the quality standards are too low, at most it could only be considered ordinary. Chen Shang shook his head and said as he looked at the materials. His words caused the people behind him to be slightly moved, especially the refiners. Because, if they wanted to see through this kind of problem, they would usually be people with rich experience in refining. When the people who came in to watch the show saw that the Sacred Fire School did not refute them, they secretly remembered that right now, they had a very bad impression of the Sacred Fire School, especially the people who were often here, and they knew that there were a lot of people who had come to cause trouble in the past. The young man could be considered lucky, taking that piece of trash to beat up the demon beasts, and even coming back to plead for their lives. When they thought about this, many people could not help but shiver. If they trusted the Sacred Fire School very much and thought that they bought a good item from him, if it was not reliable during battles, it would definitely kill them. Everyone knew that Divine Weapons' Heavenly Country's weapons and treasures were of high quality, and the price would not be too low either. It was just that it would be difficult to get to Divine Weapons' Heavenly Country. If a normal person wanted to teleport there, they would have to pay a large sum of money. 150 kilograms of Profound Gang for 100,000 spar, I want 300 kilograms. Chen Shang planned to use Profound Gang as the most common ingredient to refine it. It was relatively cheaper, and he could even get a lot of them. Just using Profound Gang is that even possible? The characteristics of Profound Gang were that they were hard and sturdy, and not easy to break. The drawback was that they were hard to temper, so many of the refiners would add something else to the process of smelting the Profound Gang, making it easier for the Profound Gang to forge. As long as it's a Profound Gang, give me 300 kilograms. Chen Shang saw the man selling the Profound Gang and shouted again. No one knew what Chen Shang was planning to do. For a 300,000 spar to buy a 300 Jin Profound Gang would mean that they would not be able to buy anything else. Furthermore, to refine a blade, one would not even need to use all 300 Jin of Profound Gang. Everyone suspected that Chen Shang was planning to use some of the Profound Gang to practice. The son of the Sacred Fire School was called Yang Xuanquan. As the son of the leader, his strength could be said to be close to his father's even though he was young, and he might not even be able to take over the Sacred Fire School in the future. But he did not know what Chen Shang was planning to do. There should be a place for me to forge artifacts here, Chen Shang asked. Of course, but we need to watch it on the spot in case you try to cheat us. Yang Xuanquan said. This is what we should do. Bring me along quickly. Yang Xuanquan signaled an old man with his eyes, and upon seeing the old man nod his head, he brought Chen Shang in through a large door, followed by some people who came to watch the commotion. However, these people were of high status, and were all shop owners nearby, and Yang Xuanquan had tacitly allowed them to enter, in order to supervise Chen Shang. He had always been by Chen Zhang's side the entire time, and although he was young, silence was his best method when encountering such a situation. He could not interrupt him at all, and he was also worried that the Sacred Fire School would take revenge on Chen Shang for this matter. They arrived at a very large forging room. There was a very large forging table here, and one could tell that this place was used for many refiners to work together to refine large-scale treasures. Chen Shang did not have a furnace, which made the refiner to sneer when they saw that. Without a furnace, he could not refine Profound Gangs. If he could not smelt them, he would not be able to temper them, but Chen Shang was extremely calm. He had thought about this a long time ago. There was a forging platform here. He tried it out and found that its specifications were very standard. It could withstand a high temperature and strong impact force. He placed those scattered 300 kilograms of Profound Gangs on the huge stage. Then, he took a deep breath and released a strong flame from his palm, roasting the Profound Gangs on the stage. He actually didn't plan on using a furnace to directly burn it like this. Just how long would it take for the furnace to burn? If there was a furnace, then he could use the furnace's formation to strengthen the flame and increase the refining speed. Just as everyone was sneering in their hearts, those Snow White Profound Gang turned red. Profound gangs were notoriously hard to forge, and hard to smelt. 100 kilograms of profound gangs was already enough, let alone 300 kilograms. Refiner, who was initially mocking them from the side, could not even laugh at this moment because they could tell that Chen Zhang's flame was extremely strong. Someone who had this flame was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Even with Fire Soul, it was difficult to achieve this step. Chapter 1189. Previously, Chen Shang said that he was a pill refiner, but everyone disagreed with him. They thought that he was just a mediocre alchemist. Now that they saw his powerful flames, based on his unfathomable strength, they felt that he was just an old man who had lived for God knows how many years. It was Chen Zhang's first time refining, but he had instructed his theories on refining to a great extent. Previously, he had obtained a refining treasure book, and later, a divine book. In addition to the fact that he had also been with Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue before, such low-level things were not difficult for him at all. The next scene caused everyone to be dumbstruck, only to see Chen Shang bellowing, stretching out her pair of meat palms and kneading all of the burnt profound gang that were scattered all over the place. Even though there was a distance between them and Chen Shang, they could still feel the terrifying temperature of the profound gang, but now, there was actually a person who touched this kind of thing with his hands. The most unbelievable thing was that these pieces of profound gang that were burnt red were like dough, being kneaded together by Chen Shang in a few breaths, becoming a big ball. For him who had trained his flesh to the body of heavenly sage, this was not difficult at all, it was indeed like kneading dough. After kneading all the profound gang into a ball, Chen Shang took out a black iron hammer. It looked extremely ordinary, but it was something that the divine craftsman had used before. Master Godly Craftsman, I've finally let you down with your hammer, I've finally used it to forge weapons. Chen Shang thought. He had previously used this hammer as a weapon and many people's heads had been struck by this hammer before, causing him to feel that he was unworthy of using this hammer as a weapon. The hammer of God was of course extraordinary. In the past, Chen Shang had also needed a very long time to raise it up and casually wave it about. Dong, 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 Chen Shang used his hands to grab onto the profound gang. After flipping and rhythmic beating, it took only a few movements to shape it into a line. It's as simple as hammering your head, Chen Shang thought. Every swing of Chen Zhang's hammer was equivalent to beating the hearts of the refiners beside him. Because the profound gang had actually become so weak in Chen Zhang's hands, with just a few strikes, it had become deformed. Yang Xuanquan's face started to turn ugly. He had already understood what Chen Shang was going to do with the 300-kilogram profound gang. As expected, just as Yang Xuang had thought, when Chen Shang had finished forging the entire piece of profound gang, he folded it out and started heating it up with flames. The originally large piece of profound gang, after being repeatedly folded and refined by him in this way, gradually became smaller. This also meant that the remaining profound gang's quality was extremely high, and the impurities within had also been removed. I can also fold it a few times. Before every folding and forging, I just need to inscribe some formation runes. Discovered that refining this kind of primary weapon was not as difficult as refining it. At most, it would be relatively easy for him to get started, and there were many ingredients and it was just as easy as he had imagined. However, Chen Shang knew that this was only a primary weapon. If he refining those high-level treasures or things, it would be much more difficult, similar to refining a high-level pellet. With so many profound gang tempered together, it must be very heavy. I will first add an array pattern that can lighten the weight. Chen Shang would look at the array markings on the green dragon demon slain broadsword whenever he had something to do, and would study them. Furthermore, he had consumed the memories of a few array masters before, so he had a rather high attainments in formations. This type of array was not difficult for him at all. He quickly finished drawing, and the next thing to note was that he couldn't mess up the array patterns during the folding or forging process, otherwise it would be useless. Previously, he had engraved a mysterious spirit grain on a tiny pellet. That was much more difficult than this, so right now, he was extremely proficient in it. The second rune is the rune that can quickly absorb the innate chi of its user, and at the same time, absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth from the outside world. When Chen Shang finished drawing the second rune, the quality of the profound gang was already extremely high. When it reached that level, the value of the profound gang far exceeded the value of the 300 kilograms, and could be considered as a kind of rare artifact forging material. Flames were powerful, his flesh was strong, and with a godly hammer, forget about profound gang, he could even take down some of the more stubborn materials. When incinerating these materials for artifact forging, it was easier to obtain than when burning spiritual medicines. Burning the materials for artifact forging didn't require too much control over the temperature, but when burning spiritual medicines, even the slightest difference in temperature could lead to failure. Everyone knew that Chen Shang was drawing an array pattern, but they didn't know what kind of array he was drawing. The third rune is a rune that can strengthen the innate qi, allowing it to have explosive power. Then there's the fourth rune. It's also the more complicated one. When blocked, it can offset a large portion of other people's strength. It turned out to be 4 segments, 4 runes. Was this even the cost of 300,000 gold coins? Not only that, but it had happened so quickly, only 4 hours had passed from start to finish. Everyone was very clear that if this saber was created successfully, its quality would far exceed that of the 5th and 6th stages sold in this shop. Whether it was refining pills or refining weapons, had to be meticulous. He had already completed all 4 stages, and the only thing left was to look like a blade, and in the end, he just had to sharpen his blade a little, making it easier to look at it. This last step was not easy either. Alchemists who came to watch the other shops secretly estimated the price of the blade in their hearts. They believed that it would at least sell for 2 million spar, and even if Yang Wushwang wanted to destroy it, it would definitely not be easy. At this moment, Yang Wushwang felt a lot of pressure, because he had said before that he could easily get any weapon at this price, but the blade made from 300,000 spar was not that easy to break apart with so many of them hammering together. After 6 hours, a 4th stage, extremely high-quality blade was completed. Chen Shang poured innate qi into it, immediately releasing a white guansha, which looked like a treasure. A 4th-level spirit weapon. Chen Shang said indifferently. Now, please come and try it and see if it can be broken so easily. This is the first time I have refined this spirit artifact, I also want to see how good I am. The first round, you must be joking. But just now, there were some people who saw how unfamiliar Chen Shang was. Even a new refiner would not be that proficient in it, but as a whole, he was extremely proficient in forging this stage 4 spirit weapon in 6 hours. Even some old refiner who had been refining this for many years would probably admit defeat. Yang Wushwang's forehead was full of sweat. Right now, there were many people watching him. If he used all his strength, he might be able to destroy this blade, but it would not be easy. Looking at the blade that was handed over, Yang Wushwang clenched his fists tightly. He wanted nothing more than to kill Chen Shang in front of him and end this matter that made him distressed. If he lost, then this shop would have to be handed over. This was a very big shop. If he handed it over, the losses would be huge, and all the materials inside were also his own, like the treasures and weapons placed on the counter. After Yang Wushwang received the blade, he felt that it was not light. He channeled the innate qi, and discovered that the runes were carved very well, and the runes were not ordinary runes either. Not bad, it's a good blade. Yang Wushwang praised from the bottom of his heart, but his expression suddenly turned cold. Wielding the blade, he slashed out at Chen Shang. The blade's body erupted with flames, releasing a burst of intense heat from the blade qi, enveloping Chen Shang. Chen Shang was furious. He did not expect Yang Wushwang to actually plan to kill him and avoid handing over the shop. He immediately dodged, but the blade suddenly shifted and slashed towards the youth who was not far away. Bastard! Chen Shang shouted angrily as he traveled through space, his fist dispersing the force. Everyone immediately panicked. This Yang Wushwang was actually such a rascal, and even more so, couldn't afford to lose. Everyone, don't go, Yang Wushwang said coldly. At the same time, the iron doors of the hall were closed, and a few extremely strong-looking old men came in. You can't afford to lose this. Chen Shang stood in front of the youth, clenching his fists so hard that they made cluck sounds. Yang Wushwang laughed coldly. HMPH, you are clearly a very strong refiner, yet you deliberately came here to find trouble. You have plans, and kept saying that it's your first time refining and that your mouth was full of lies. You are trying to cheat us out of this shop. You are not qualified to talk about winning or losing with me. Today you and that brat are both going to die here. You guys are going to work together to find fault with us. You have to die. Don't think that our sacred fire school is a soft persimmon. Chapter 1190. Yang Wushwang really couldn't afford to lose, especially this huge shop. If he really gave it to Chen Shang, it would be such a great loss, so he made the decision just now to discuss this with the old man in the shop through sound transmission, trapping everyone here and eliminating Chen Shang and the young man. Then, he would coerce and tempt those who came to watch the event to not spread the news. In short, they felt that with the Sacred Fire School's current prestige, it wouldn't be difficult for them to cover the entire sky in Holy Yan City. Now that they had so many people, they felt that it would be easy to take Chen Shang down. Moreover, they could tell that Chen Shang wanted to protect a youth with a weaker strength. Chen Zhang's face was gloomy and cold. The people of Sacred Fire School were so despicable, they did not have the demeanor of a big sect, the others thought the same. The round ones can be said to be square, but no matter what you say, this shop belongs to me. Also, don't even think about living. Chen Zhang's killing intent surged. He suddenly roared out and waved the divine hammer in his hand, releasing the extremely powerful innate chi out of his body and merged with the power released from his body, transforming into a burst of intense and scorching gale, blowing towards Sacred Fire School and the group. Just as they were about to make a hasty move to block it, they realized that Chen Shang had already disappeared. However, they could not attack the young man because they had to break through the scorching gale that was coming their way. Chen Shang, who had disappeared, suddenly appeared beside the few elders. He brandished his divine hammer, and smashed it fiercely towards the heads of the few elders as if he had just struck a profound gang, instantly striking them a few times, and with each strike, struck the heads of the elders. Everyone could clearly see that the heads of the old men exploded like watermelons after being hit, splattering blood-red objects in all directions. The old guy from the Sacred Fire School was not weak, but he could not withstand a single blow. Chen Zhang's strength had already shocked everyone. Quickly capture that brat, I'll stall him. Seeing Chen Zhang's strength, young Wushuang was shocked and shouted out. Seeing the few elders rushing towards the young man, Chen Shang immediately used form displacement shadow to bring the young man to his side. Young Wushuang held onto a blazing gigantic blade, and leapt towards Chen Shang, slashing out with a very powerful blade, causing a wave of heat, and enveloped Chen Shang and the young man. Chen Shang immediately released a profound WU cover hood, enveloping himself and the young man. At the same time, he brandished his hammer and smashed it towards the gigantic warblade. Heaven-shaking hammer. The way Chen Shang used the heaven-blasting palm, gave his hammer a terrifying vibrating power. Amidst the waves of fire, a clear sound rang out, and that seemingly very powerful warblade was actually smashed into pieces by that pitch-black, broken iron hammer. Young Wushuang was so furious that he thought that his own powerful treasured blade had been destroyed, his treasured blade had been shattered, and even his tiger's mouth had been cracked. The bones in one of his palms had practically shattered, and at this moment, he could already feel that his opponent's strength had far surpassed his. The power of Chen Zhang's body of heavenly sage was not a joke. The strength of his body could behead a worldly immortal, let alone a person who had just crossed the 8th level of Nirvana realm. What was worse, Chen Shang had even used the innate chi, because his heart was also filled with rage. No one can save you. Chen Shang bellowed, suddenly appearing on top of young Wushuang's head, holding the divine hammer with both of his hands, he fiercely smashed it down. Die! Chen Shang roared in anger as the divine hammer came crashing down, releasing an extremely strong pressure that caused all the power in young Wushuang's body to crumble. With a poo sound, young Wushuang's body was struck by the berserk energy, causing blood to spurt everywhere. The old men who were planning to rush over suddenly had their legs weaken. Leader's son was actually dead, moreover dead in such a miserable manner. Now that they all understood Chen Zhang's strength, killing them was as easy as pinching an ant. They had angered a strong man. Everyone was dumbfounded. The situation had developed to such a state that they had never thought of it before. At this point, they didn't dare to breathe out, and just quietly watched from the sidelines, their hearts filled with a different kind of shock, as they were also worried that they would be killed. You are all from the Sacred Fire School, right? Chen Zhang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Without waiting for the old men to reply, he flew over, wielded the hammer and smashed them one by one, until the ground was covered in blood. The experts of the Sacred Fire School were all annihilated. Many of the spectators started to tremble, because the killing intent coming out from Chen Zhang's body was extremely terrifying, adding on to the strong stench of blood here. Chen Shang brought the youth whose face was filled with shock to the iron door, and punched it open. All of you can leave. This shop is now mine. Chen Shang said coldly, and the group of people immediately left. As for the disciples of the other Sacred Fire Schools in the shop, after they found out that young Wushuang and the other elders had all been killed, they also escaped. He did not want to die, even daring to kill young Wushuang. Change your appearance and take these spar away from Sacred Yan City. The blade and spar that Chen Shang gave to the youth was enough for him to teleport away. Take him down and leave quickly. Chen Shang saw that the youth was standing there in a daze, and said that, his voice contained an irresistible dignity, causing the youth to have no choice but to take those items. Then, he simply changed his appearance and left through an empty back door. After that, Chen Shang stored everything in the shop into his own storage bag. On the second and third floors, in the shelves, were all relatively valuable things. Chen Shang unceremoniously took them away. He would be bringing them to the divine weapon's heavenly country in the future. He had killed the son of leader, as well as killed a few powerful clan elders. Even if he had obtained this shop, he could not continue to operate it, as it would only bring about trouble. After plundering the place, he set fire to it and changed his appearance. Then, he left the city from the transmission array. As one of the more powerful forces under the Fire Divine Palace, the Sacred Fire School had already lost so many important people, yet they were still humiliated in front of their own doorsteps, losing a lot of face, and they didn't even know who did it. All they knew was that this was a master refiner, and the weapon he used was a very powerful hammer which could instantly shatter a ninth phase treasure. There were a lot of witnesses at that time, so after the news spread out, everyone knew that Sacred Fire School was asking for it. This was exactly what Chen Shang wanted. Who told the Sacred Fire School to always be hostile towards the Divine Weapon Kingdom, and even repeatedly requested the strongest power of the Fire Divine Palace to wipe out the experts from the Divine Weapon sect. This was simply courting death. Chapter 1191. After the Fire Divine Palace found out about the incident in the Sacred Fire School, he immediately sent people to investigate. It was because they knew that the person who was messing around in the underground palace and killing the Ice Emperor was a guy with a black hammer. Now that they had gone to the Sacred Fire School to cause trouble, it was obvious that they were going against the Fire Divine Palace. At this critical juncture, the sudden appearance of an expert opposing the Fire Divine Palace put a lot of pressure on the Fire Divine Palace. Especially since such a person could kill the Ice Emperor and exterminate that underground palace by himself. Chen Shang was about to be sealed for 10 years, and the plan to attack Chen Martial Continent had always been carried out. In these 9 years, the Fire Divine Palace had always been increasing his own strength, consuming a lot of resources, all in order to make it easier for them to attack the Chen Martial Continent. But now, a mysterious rancor had appeared suddenly, making them wonder if he was the mysterious great clan elder from Dragon Subduing School. The Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace was an immortal king. If it wasn't anything major, he wouldn't want to intervene, because if this matter were to spread to the Heaven Realm, it wouldn't be a glorious thing. Thus, when they were attacking the Chen Martial Continent, he didn't want to intervene, but at the moment, he had to reconsider. After Chen Shang left Sacred Yan City, he wandered around in other cities in order to gather information on Sacred Fire School. Originally, he planned to make a trip to Sacred Fire Mountain, but after knowing that there were mysterious experts in the Sacred Fire Mountain, he didn't dare to act rashly. The person that the Sacred Fire School offended was very strong, and it was said that he killed that Yang Wushwang in 2 moves. Back then at the Artifact Forging Assembly, this Yang Wushwang was really cocky, but I didn't expect him to die so miserably. The old ancestor of the Sacred Fire School has already come out. It is said that this old fellow was once an important figure in the Fire Divine Palace. He is a powerful old ghost with fire soul. So what if they come out? They don't even know each other's names. A shop was destroyed by them in such a carefree manner. They haven't even found a single hair on the other person's head yet. Of course, the old ancestor of the Sacred Fire School came out to protect the Sacred Fire School. That person has even killed Yang Wushwang, so he is definitely not afraid of the Sacred Fire School. Maybe that day when he was in a bad mood, he will go to the Sacred Fire School and cause a ruckus, and destroy the entire Sacred Fire School. The nearby cities were all managed by the Sacred Fire School, with the Sacred Fire School as the center. However, the Sacred Fire School had always been an extremely tyrannical city, and many people had a bad impression of it, especially the shops in the Sacred Fire School. If not for the people who were related to the Sacred Fire School going there, they would have been scammed to death. In the past few days, Chen Shang had heard news that piqued his interest. It was that Fire Divine Palace had found an extremely large and unique profound being in the profound cold ancient realm. First, the profound being could not be placed inside the storage magic treasure. Second, the profound being was very difficult to break through, since it was found in the profound cold ancient realm. Then the immortal king that was staying in the profound ice city must have made a move before, but he could not break through it. Third, the special profound being was not like the other profound being, who could release cold air, but that was without a doubt. In order to break open this piece of profound being, the experts of Fire Divine Palace used many different methods. In the end, they decided to transport it to the Sacred Fire Mountain, and use the flame inside the Sacred Fire Mountain's powerful volcanic crater to see if they could melt that piece of profound being. Chen Shang was extremely interested in profound being, especially this kind of special profound being. Furthermore, he had always planned to go to the Sacred Fire Mountain to have a look, and after hearing the news, he immediately set off for the Sacred Fire Mountain. It was said that the profound being was the size of a house and was transported all the way from profound cold ancient realm. Chen Shang returned to Sacred Yan City once again, and asked for more detailed information. Very quickly, he found out that many powers had sent a few elders over, and they were all invited by the Fire Divine Palace. He felt that the Fire Divine Palace was making use of this opportunity to gather the other powers that wanted to attack the Chen Martial continent. Towards such a thing, Chen Shang could not be absent. The fellow from Ghost Killing School is here as well. We saw a golden face ghost killer just now. This is really rare, even he has to give me face. As Chen Shang was walking, he suddenly heard people talking. Ghost Killing Schools rarely appeared, especially those like them who had extremely high statuses in the Ghost Killing School. A golden face ghost killer has arrived, that's my wish. Chen Shang laughed in her heart. She anxiously ordered Long Shui, allowing him to use her powerful abilities to track the whereabouts of Golden Face Ghost Killer. He's still in the city. This guy is very high profile. After he met a group of people, he had already moved into the Sacred Fire School's luxurious inn. Long Shui quickly found the Golden Face Ghost Killer. Chen Shang immediately headed towards the inn. He planned to ambush the Golden Face Ghost Killer. He also wanted to have a taste of fighting against the powerful assassin in the dark. He transformed into a very small mosquito, flying into the inn. Entering the room, he saw the ghost killer sitting on the bed to rest. Although it looked like he was resting, Chen Shang could feel that the golden face ghost killer was releasing very weak divine senses to investigate his surroundings. He was extremely cautious. However, he could not detect Chen Shang, so it was normal for mosquitoes to fly in. Chen Shang did not release any of his qi, so the golden face ghost killer did not sense it. Chen Shang flew in front of the golden face ghost killer and released his extremely strong divine power, using the soul-absorbing devil spell on him from a distance. The sudden mental attack was something the golden face ghost killer did not expect, and he suffered heavy injuries in an instant. Chen Shang had also revealed his original body, one hand pressing on the golden face ghost killer's head as he searched through the memories in his mind. After obtaining the golden face ghost killer's memories, Chen Shang knocked it out, took off its black clothes and golden mask, then transformed it into the same size and appearance as the golden face ghost killer. Of course, he could use the transformation techniques to create those masks, but he was worried that someone familiar with the golden face ghost killer would appear, so it would not be good if he was recognized then. With the golden face ghost killer's memories, Chen Shang could impersonate this golden face ghost killer and sneak into the Sacred Fire Mountain, and he could keep this golden face ghost killer, putting it into the square cauldron that he had just obtained. If this golden face ghost killer had any life pearls inside, they would definitely be discovered after he died. This was also the reason why Chen Shang was so happy to have gotten the cauldron back then. From the memories, he knew that the Sacred Fire School would send someone to bring them to the Sacred Fire Mountain tomorrow. On the surface, the reason why they were invited was to help them deal with the gigantic profound being, but they were actually discussing about joining forces to attack the Chen Martial continent secretly. This was just as Chen Shang had guessed. Chen Shang would definitely not let them succeed in this trip to the Sacred Fire Mountain, and would also check if that enormous profound being was really as the rumors said. If there were treasures inside, then he would also gain quite a lot on this trip. Chapter 1192. On the second day, the Sacred Fire Mountain sent someone to guide them to a huge ship that could fly. This ship had a very luxurious room and living room. Although the items sold were of poor quality, the items they gave themselves were never vague. For example, this huge ship that could fly. Chen Shang flew for an entire day before finally arriving at the place where he was supposed to be. The golden face ghost killer that he pretended to be was normally a quiet and taciturn person, so even if someone asked him a question, he could answer or not, and other people would not feel disgusted with him. Therefore, Chen Shang also spoke very little. Standing on the deck of the giant ship, he could feel a wave of hot air assaulting him. In front of him was a huge volcano, with lava flowing within the volcano. Looking from afar, it looked like a gigantic lake of lava. Floating above the volcano was an island, and on this island were many buildings, such as the Sacred Fire School. This volcano is really strange. This fire essence should have come from the Earth's core. Cultivating here all year round is indeed a great help to those who cultivate fire, and in this environment, it's not difficult to nurture a fire soul. Su Meiyao said. Would the Fire Divine Palace not accept such a good place? Chen Zhang's heart skipped a beat as he suddenly thought of something. Bai Yuyu said what he was thinking in his heart, and said, this should be the Fire Divine Palace's headquarters. This floating island is not something that just anyone can create, and its defensive power is extremely strong. The Sacred Fire School exists and is on this island as well. The headquarters of the Fire Divine Palace should be hidden here as well, and all of this is to deceive people. The fact that the Fire Divine Palace controlled such a powerful volcano made Chen Shang drool. In a sense, this unique volcano was equivalent to a dragon vein. Looks like I'll have to be careful in a bit, Chen Shang thought, but he had previously heard from a few people that the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace would not come, and would instead guard that seal. Sealing Chen Shang was something that most people on this ship would love to see. Now that there was an immortal king protecting them, they felt that when the time was right, they could peacefully attack Chen Martial continent. In the alliance, the ghost-killing school held an important position, because at that time, assassinating the experts from various powers in the Chen Martial continent was extremely important. If the immortal king did not intervene, then in order to successfully attack the Chen Martial continent, one would have to rely on the Golden Face Ghost Killer inside the ghost-killing school. And the Golden Face Ghost Killer that Chen Shang was impersonating as right now was the second in command of the ghost-killing school. Above him was the Red Face Ghost Killer, the leader of the ghost-killing school. From the memories of the current second manager, Chen Shang knew that the Red Face Ghost Killer never spoke, nor did he send any sound transmissions but only sent messages through notes. As a result, no one had heard his voice, and no one knew whether or not he had changed into a different leader over the years, but he was definitely powerful. The giant ship landed and everyone boarded the small island floating above the giant volcano's crater. The people that came were all powerful experts, so they could adapt to the intense heat. They soon saw the gigantic profound being, which was as big as a house. Although this profound being did not emit the intense cold chi, it still felt cool and refreshing standing near the gigantic profound being. The masked Chen Shang was currently using the Chaos Divine Eye to carefully observe this gigantic profound being. This profound being was the biggest he had ever seen. It was over 1,000 meters long and its shape was irregular, but without a doubt, it was a profound being. Is there something inside? Long Shui asked. It's a huge thing, but I'm not sure yet. If I can open the Chaos Divine Eye, I might be able to see it clearly. Chen Zhang's voice carried a trace of shock. There was actually something inside this enormous profound being, and it was very huge as well. The things inside the profound being were not ordinary. Although the quality of this piece of profound being was not of the high quality, it did not mean that the things inside were ordinary. Something very big. What could it be? Could it be a living giant beast? Su Meiyao asked in surprise. I'm not sure, I don't feel any signs of life, and this profound being is very strong. Breaking it is not easy. The immortal king has already fought. I can feel the old man's chi, but he can't do anything to this profound being. Chen Shang also wanted to know what exactly was frozen inside this profound being. The leader from the Sacred Fire School was here. His name was Yang Jutao. He was an old man dressed in fiery red robes, with white eyebrows and white beard. He had just lost his son, and was not in a good mood. Yang Jutao saw that everyone was interested in this gigantic profound being, so he said, the Fire Divine Palace's palace master said, there must be something inside, but it cannot be broken. If everyone does not have a good idea, you can only push this profound being into the crater of the volcano, and see if it can be melted away. Chen Shang felt that this was not appropriate. He was worried that the good stuff inside would be affected, but he did not have any good methods right now. If he did not impersonate the Golden Face Ghost Killer, and if it was not because of this environment, he would definitely have that hammer of God to try and break it apart. If we push it down, if there is any spiritual medicine inside, it will be destroyed. A person said. But there's nothing we can do about it, we have to see if there's anything inside. Could it be that even the palace master can't do anything to this profound being? Yang Jutao shook his head. If there was some powerful divine weapon, it might be able to break through it, and the green dragon demon slain broadsword might be able to, but unfortunately, it is in Chen Zhang's hands, and Chen Shang is sealed by the Fire Divine Palace's Hall Master. A person sighed. Isn't your sacred fire school a very powerful sect for smithing? Don't tell me there aren't any divine weapons that you can take out. The one who asked was an elder of the devil race. Fire Divine Palace's Hall Master is the Heaven Realm's immortal king. Moreover, he has a powerful holy level dragon artifact. He used that thing in his powerful strength to no longer be able to break through the profounding. Our sacred fire school is merely a small sect. We can only take out a few immortal artifacts. It can't even compare to the Fire Divine Palace's holy level dragon artifact. The reason why Yang Jutao revealed the power of the Hall Master was so that he could tell the people who were gathered here how strong the Fire Divine Palace was. As the immortal king of the Fire Divine Palace, he was sent here to rob the world by a powerful person. How could he not give a piece of this thing to the Hall Master? Chapter 1193. Everyone stood at the side of the profounding. Some of them had already started to use their powerful strength to attack it, wanting to test how powerful the profounding was. After a round of attacks, those people finally gave up, and when their powerful strength attacks onto the profounding, they were immediately absorbed, with not even a speck of it remaining. Looks like I can only push the profounding down. A person sighed. Yang Ju nodded and said, it seems like there's no other way. Please come with me, I have something important to discuss with you. However, if they were to attack the Chen Martial continent all by themselves, it would be very difficult for them to take it down. Unless they allied together, even if they joined forces, they would still not have any confidence, because the current Chen Martial continent was extraordinarily strong. Furthermore, they had sealed Chen Shang. In these past 10 years, the dragon subduing school did not make any big movements, as if he was about to disappear from the face of the earth, and the great clan elder did not come to save Chen Shang either. Therefore, everyone believed that the time to attack the Chen Martial continent was now. Chen Shang and the others followed Yang Jutao to a secret meeting room, and sat at a long table. Yang Jutao was not sitting at the seat of honor, but was wearing the robes of a Fire Divine Palace middle-aged man. When the middle-aged man came in, everyone felt a strange pressure, and at this time, everyone's hearts were thumping. They did not expect that there would actually be a Fire Divine Palace ranker hidden here. When he came here, Chen Shang had already guessed that this sacred fire mountain was the Fire Divine Palace's secret headquarters. It was normal for there to be experts from the Fire Divine Palace here, so Chen Shang was not surprised at all. He should be in the middle stage of Immortal Monarch. Long Shui said. To them, this guy is very strong. If this guy were to join when we are attacking Chen Martial continent, the pressure you guys would be feeling would be even greater. Chen Shang was secretly worried, because it was very easy to nurture a strong ranker at the location of the sacred fire mountain. He did not know how many powerful people there were in this huge sacred fire mountain, so he wanted to kill off this sacred fire mountain. Everyone, the real purpose of coming here is to discuss the preparations for attacking Chen Martial continent. The Immortal Monarch said. Everyone nodded their heads. Having such an expert in charge of the meeting gave them a lot of confidence. They were worried that the Immortal King would not help them previously, otherwise, they would not need to pull the Chen Martial continent down. The Immortal Monarch said, it's been almost 10 years and the great clan elder of Dragon Subduing School has not come to save Chen Shang. We have already confirmed that the great clan elder will not appear anymore. I think this is something that everyone is still worried about. The man from Devil Race said, but if 10 years pass and we are about to attack Chen Martial continent, what about the great clan elder from Dragon Subduing School? If we let the little demon Chen Shang out, we would all be in trouble. You are well aware of the strength of our Hall Master. Even if the great clan elder from Dragon Subduing School appeared, given our Hall Master's strength, he would definitely be able to stop him from releasing Chen Shang. However, this also means that our Hall Master is not allowed to fight against the Chen Martial continent, so we have to join hands with you all. Quote. Chen Shang sneered in his heart. If the White Tiger really came, even the Palace Masters of the 10 Fire Divine Palaces would not be able to stop it. Furthermore, he didn't need the White Tiger to help him right now, he would have to rely on his own strength to come out. In other words, we can start now, right? The person who spoke was from the ancient Wasteland Devil sect, and Chen Shang was very familiar with the qi on his body. No matter if it was demon or demon, as long as they wanted to attack Chen Martial continent, the Fire Divine Palace would gather them together. Now we can make our move, but before we make our move, we have to make some preparations, and we have to get rid of the middle strength of the Chen Martial continent. If possible, getting rid of one or two of their leaders is not out of the question, but Dan Fragrance Pure Land, Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, Icy Wind Valley, and all of them are being taken over by a few kids, and the one who is going to take over the Lotus Island is also a little brat. They are all our primary targets. As for the current leader, he is too strong, it is hard to do anything secretly. After Immortal Monarch finished speaking, he looked at Chen Shang. Now that Chen Shang was pretending to be Golden Face Ghost Killer, Ghost Killing School was most skilled in such assassination, and many people from various forces were the same. Chen Shang did not say anything, and only nodded his head slightly. This was the personality of the Golden Face Ghost Killer. As long as it was in contact with the higher-ups of the Ghost Killing School, they would know. These powerful Ghost Killers spoke very little, and did not want others to know their voices, so they all understood. This bunch of bastards, let me go assassinate Shenxian and the others. Keep dreaming, I really want to assassinate all of you tonight. Chen Shang thought that he could indeed use his identity as the Golden Face Ghost Killer to assassinate these people. As long as he did everything cleanly, no one would know about it. The Immortal Monarch continued. As long as the Ghost Killing School is successful, when the Chen Martial Continent's great powers suddenly lose their core leader, then we will attack. As for how much time we have, it would depend on the Ghost Killing School's friends. List. Chen Shang said in an extremely stiff and low voice. Yang Jutao immediately took out a piece of paper and handed it to Chen Shang. There were over 10 names on the list, among them were Shui Shenxian, Leng Yulin, Wu Qianchen, and some other names that he was familiar with. Then there was the Lotus Island's island master, Lian Dongsheng, who was an able son of Lian Yingxiao, and was also relatively strong. This was the leader's name, and the remaining few elders who were more useful were the people with great intelligence and were important people among the forces in the Chen Martial Continent. When should we make our move? One of them asked. The meeting is over, Chen Shang said coldly. With how quick his actions were, many people admired Ghost Killing School's professional attitude. Furthermore, Ghost Killing School was relatively good at this kind of thing, so they had a lot of confidence in him. As for the benefits obtained from the battle, you don't have to worry about that. As long as we can take down the Chen Martial Continent and find the dragon fountain that was hidden inside, then the entire DTN will be ours from now. Yun Che's eyes flashed with a cold light. As long as they participated, they would be able to obtain great benefits from DTN. If they only relied on themselves, it would be very difficult, and they would also face the risk of destruction. After that, they discussed the time of the attack and the areas that each faction would be responsible for. All of these were memorized by Chen Shang. If Chen Shang participated in this meeting, it would mean that they were late, it was just that no one else knew about it. After the meeting ended, Chen Shang left by himself while the others had to watch the gigantic profound being fall into the crater of the volcano. Chen Shang was only pretending to leave, but he was actually hiding in the lava at the bottom of the volcano mouth. He reckoned that the profound being would only melt in the depths of the volcano, and the person at the top would be unable to go down. The lava inside the volcano was not very hot for Chen Shang, especially on the surface layer. Chen Shang had been to the core of the earth before, so it was even more terrifying down there. However, he could endure it, and now that his strength had increased and he had cultivated the body of Heavenly Sage, he could dive deeper into the ground and the gigantic profound being would fall straight to the ground. If it's the corpse of an ancient beast, it would definitely melt in the bottom of this volcano. If it's something edible, then it's even more so. Long Shui was extremely vexed. That profound being was simply too big, and there was even something huge inside. If it could be eaten, it would definitely last a long time. Chen Shang was already soaked in the flame essence, waiting for the people above to push the gigantic profound being down. Chapter 1194, Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord, you don't seem to be lacking in food, what are you thinking about? Chen Shang laughed. There isn't a lack of food right now, but I sometimes want to change my appetite. This thing might be something from the ancient times. Long Shui muttered. With the divine soul that had gone out of his body, Chen Shang could already see the group of people working together to push down the gigantic profound being. Just how big is this thing inside? Don't tell me it takes up the entire piece of the profound being. Bai Yu suddenly thought of something and asked. Chen Shang thought for a moment, then answered. No, I think I took a small part of it, but compared to this huge profound being, that thing can already be considered to be huge. Bai Yu said. For this profound being to become so strange, it could have been caused by the things inside. It must be strong, huge, and definitely not able to be placed inside. This profound being must have definitely been affected by the things inside, so it became like this. Chen Shang also thought that it was reasonable. What would that be? Bai Yu was silent for a moment, then said, I am not sure, but if it really is that thing, then it is possible that we know the reason behind the formation of the profound cold ancient realm. Could this thing have caused the profound cold ancient realm to become the main culprit of this world's ice and snow? Chen Shang was astonished. He wanted to know what exactly this thing was, to actually be so powerful. Bai Yu said, I don't know much about that thing. Let's talk about it after I see it. The gigantic profound being was pushed down from the small island above and fiercely fell into the volcano, causing a large amount of fire essence to splash out. Chen Shang, who was at the side, was also confused and disoriented by the wild waves of the fire essence. The disturbance was so great that a large amount of hot air rose up from the volcano's crater. This prevented the floating island from releasing any sort of formation to protect itself, otherwise, the disciples would not be able to withstand such a large amount of hot air. After calming down, Chen Shang immediately went downwards quickly. He even took out the hammer of God, and with the help of its weight, he quickly descended and chased after the gigantic profound being. The temperature below was indeed very high, but he did not need to use the profound diamond armor to protect it. Chen Shang sank downwards as he used the power of the spatial laws to travel through space, and quickly caught up to the gigantic profound being. What surprised him was that the profound being was already this deep, and there were no signs of it melting. The people on the floating island all frowned as they looked at the volcano that was gradually calming down. It seems to have sunk very deep. If there's a treasure, how will we be able to discover it? Is it possible that the treasure will sink so deep into the ground? An elder of the sacred fire school said. The immortal monarch said, if it melts and treasures appear, I can feel it. When the time comes, I will have a secret technique to retrieve it, so there is no need to worry. The crater was connected to the core of the earth, and this was also the entrance to the core of the earth. Last time when Chen Shang released the super old fire beast, he obtained a earth core crystal and it had already fused into his body. The gigantic profound being had already entered the earth's core from the mouth of the volcano, but it had still not melted. I wonder where it will sink to before it melts. If it goes too deep, I'll have to take out the fire dragon sword. The last time Chen Shang entered the earth's core, he was able to rely on that fire dragon sword to dodge the fire essence in the earth's core. The immortal monarch at the top frowned. Looks like I've already entered the core. I never thought that it would still not melt even in that kind of place, and this also proves that this volcano can lead to the core of the earth, but if we continue to sink down, I will have no way of controlling it. Maybe this piece of profound being will sink down to the depths of the core. The core was something that would cause people to feel fear, especially the famous Earth's core fire realm. The people here weren't strangers, the flames there were even more terrifying now, and they could only wander around outside. After 2 hours, the gigantic profound being had already sunk deeper and deeper into the ground, and there were no signs of the profound being melting. Chen Shang also felt a burning sensation on his body. He secretly activated profound physical exercise to temper his body, and he was currently on top of the sinking profound being, waiting for the profound being to melt. Could it be that even the Earth's core is unable to melt this piece of profound being? Isn't this way too powerful? Chen Shang said in shock. It looks like it's that thing without a doubt. If it can melt, then you will be able to see what exactly it is. Bai Yu was even more sure of his own thoughts. What is it? Can it be eaten? Long Shui asked. No. Can that be used for fighting? Long Shui asked again. I don't know, my understanding of that thing was just a rumor. When I was in the heavenly demon realm, I read about it in the ancient books of my Bai family. At that time, I cultivated the power of frost and went through a large amount of things related to the powerful icy cold power. What exactly is that thing? Sister Yu, don't keep us in suspense. Chen Zhang's heart itched, he wished that he could immediately break open the profound being. Bai Yu was silent again. After a while, she said, wait, if you see it with your own eyes, you will understand it better. After another 4 hours, Chen Shang took out the fire dragon sword, and felt that it was about to sink to the bottom. Just when he thought that the profound being would not melt, he suddenly felt the gigantic profound being trembling. Finally there was a response. Chen Shang was wild with joy, and immediately became spirited. As for the people above, they had long since left. Only the immortal monarch was still there, frowning as he looked at the fiery red liquid below. It actually didn't melt, but cracked. Chen Shang felt that this was extremely strange. Many cracks appeared on the gigantic profound being and then it suddenly exploded, turning into a small piece of ice and disappeared into the fire droplets. This method of breaking through was actually the same as the other profound being. Chen Shang saw something inside the profound being. It was actually a gigantic tablet. Very quickly, Chen Shang came to his senses. It was not that he had seen this giant tablet before, but he felt that the aura of this giant tablet was very familiar, and this familiarity came from his killing god heart. The killing god heart contained a very powerful soul, and at this moment, Chen Shang felt that the soul was affecting him, which was why he felt that this giant monument was so familiar. It really is this thing. Bai Yu had already expected this, but he was still shocked, quickly put it away. Chen Shang did not immediately take action, but asked seriously, what exactly is this thing? The soul inside the killing god heart was extremely terrifying, even the white tiger had said that, and this stone tablet seemed to be related to that soul. Chen Shang was worried that an accident might happen if he placed the stone tablet inside the Yuyao ring. I don't know why, but this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument did not appear in the sky of ice, but had gone missing. Furthermore, the other heaven-suppressed immortal monument also did not appear, so we can now be sure that one of them appeared in DTN, causing the profound cold ancient realm to be frozen. Chen Shang quickly put away the heaven-suppressed immortal monument and was secretly shocked in his heart. He said, could it be that the heaven-suppressed immortal monument no longer has the power to suppress the profound cold ancient realm? Bai Yu nodded his head. Perhaps that place was born along with DTN. The origins of this heaven-suppressed immortal monument is unknown, but its god power is endless, and this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument could release a very strong icy cold power, so maybe profound cold ancient realm was created by this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument. Could it be that someone intentionally threw the heaven-suppressed immortal monument at profound cold ancient realm? How did those strange profound being form? I don't believe that those shaped profound being were formed by nature. Chen Shang was very suspicious about this, and obviously the treasure inside the profound being was not a coincidence. The profound cold ancient realm was a very dangerous place, and it concerned whether or not DTN could be stable in the future. Before Chen Shang left DTN, it would be best if he could understand the situation clearly. Strange, why is it gone? What's inside? I feel that it's quite big, but just as I was about to get it, it suddenly disappeared. The immortal monarch frowned, puzzled. Chapter 1195. Deep within the earth, Chen Shang was also unable to examine that piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument carefully. That immortal monarch seemed to be able to sense the movement of that profound being up there. However, he did not discover Yu. Long Shui could sense that the immortal monarch above was paying close attention to something. That's good. I can quickly leave this place to carry out my mission. Chen Zhang's face revealed a smile. His so-called mission was to assassinate the person on the list. He recognized the few people on the list, so of course he wouldn't kill them. Chen Shang came out from the crater of the volcano and then quietly left, not letting the immortal monarch discover him. He left the sacred fire mountain far away and turned into an ordinary middle-aged man, entering Holy Yan City. He then teleported from Holy Yan City to another city. The dragon-subduing city was still the same as before. It was said that he had been attacked by demons many times, but the great city barrier formation set up by the Iron Lion army was not weak, and with the power provided by the dragon veins, the dragon-subduing city was indestructible. Li Baojun was not in the dragon-subduing city. He had snuck back in. He did not want others to know that he had come out from the seal, so he had to keep a low profile. Unable to find Li Baojun in the dragon-subduing city, he entered the evil dragon graveyard. The dragon-subduing school had already recruited many outstanding disciples, and these disciples had all been filtered and recognized by many. Furthermore, there was Lan Lan and Yan Yanren who was in charge of investigating these backgrounds, preventing people from sneaking into the dragon-subduing school. On the other hand, the people who trained these disciples were some old geezers from the Earth's core race and Duan Chong. Yun Xiaodao and the others were all in charge of a group of disciples, and were the bosses of many of the dragon-subduing school disciples. In order to increase their combat experience, they often fought. As for the pills, there was no need to mention the fact that the dragon-subduing school was a powerful alchemist power, so in a short period of time, the dragon-subduing school was able to produce a large number of outstanding disciples, but many of the forces did not know about it. Li Baojun was at the dragon-subduing school headquarters in the evil dragon graveyard. The moment he finished concocting pills, he saw Chen Shang sitting in his small hall. Ha ha I knew you'd get out in time. Seeing that Chen Zhang's complexion was good, Li Baojun laughed and said. He was relieved when Chen Shang came back, but he had been worried since, and furthermore, the Chen martial continent would be attacked soon. If not for Chen Zhang's help, he was afraid that it would be a headache to solve some problems. That broken seal won't be able to trap me. Chen Shang chuckled. Elder Li, how many disciples do we have now? There are over 30,000, and all of them were recruited here and there by those brats. Only after they have received the approval of us old fellows are they allowed to enter the evil dragon graveyard. Li Baojun said. Don't worry, I have already divided the dragon subduing school into a few regions. Disciples are not allowed to enter some important places, so there is no need to worry about them messing around. Yes, Chen Shang nodded. He had complete trust in Li Baojun's attitude towards him. Not many people knew that you came back, right? How come there isn't any news about Fire Divine Palace? Li Baojun asked. Even until now, Fire Divine Palace still had not discovered Chen Shang coming out of that seal. We can't let too many people know about this. Hearing Chen Zhang's words, Li Baojun immediately understood Chen Zhang's intentions, but he was still a little confused. Leader, if you are letting the Fire Divine Palace attack the Chen martial continent, then we have at least one person who can force the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace to do this. That person is the Immortal King, and our great elder has gone to who knows where. You don't have to worry about that. The Hall Master will be guarding Profound Ice City, and as long as I'm not exposed, the Hall Master will not come out. But after this, we just need to ambush, and capture all of those people who are attacking the Chen martial continent. Chen Shang had another identity now, the golden-faced ghost killer of the ghost-killing school. He smiled and said, I have already infiltrated into the inner circle of their alliance. At that time, I will tell you about their latest battle plan. So sinister. Li Baojun also laughed. I am currently a golden-faced ghost killer of the ghost-killing school. They gave me a list of assassins and told me to kill these people. Chen Shang took out the name list and handed it over to Li Baojun. Li Baojun was startled. He never thought that Chen Shang would actually impersonate the golden-faced ghost killer, and upon seeing the name list, he frowned. They are all important figures. If the powers in Chen martial continent do not have these people, and they happen to attack here, the consequences will be unimaginable. Li Baojun frowned. That's right, but if there are these people here, they would use a lot of strength to attack us. If more than half of the people on the list die, they will be the ones to make a surprise attack, and the people who come will probably be elites, so there will definitely be a lot of them. Chen Shang said. When the time comes, we'll ambush them there and give them a surprise. Li Baojun finally understood what Chen Shang wanted to do. Chen Shang laughed. I will make a trip to Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and Dan Fragrance Pure Land. Elder Li, arrange some men for me and I will be ready to attack at any time. Got it. I'll make the arrangements. Should you tell those brats about your return first? Li Baojun asked. Chen Shang thought for a moment, then said, I will not tell Dao Ren and the others for now. After greeting Li Baojun, Chen Shang left the evil dragon graveyard and let Li Baojun report his plan to Duan Chong. Those who were assassinated by the ghost-killing school were the higher-ups of the forces in the Fire Divine Palace, and they were all important figures who guaranteed the smooth operation of a force. Once the assassination was successful, this force would be in great turmoil for a short period of time, and it would be the best time to take them down. Chen Shang came to Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, and quietly went to look for Shui Shenxian. Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin were currently very busy. Not only did they have to cultivate and raise their strength, they also had to instruct them to set up huge formations, and sometimes they also had to refine some powerful treasures for their disciples. Chen Shang also stayed in their room at night, waiting for them to return. My brother will be sealed for 10 years soon. At that time, he said from the inside that after 10 years, the Fire Divine Palace would attack the Chen martial continent. If it really comes to that, I wonder if my brother will be able to come back. Leng Yulin sat in the hall, drinking the flower tea that was used to remove fatigue. Regardless of whether he can come back or not, we have to be well prepared. If we can't protect the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country well, how are we going to face Master when we go to the Heaven Realm in the future? Shui Shenxian's face was gloomy. Of course she hoped that Chen Shang would return, but she had to prepare for the worst. Chen Shang walked out from the room and said while grinning, this kind of big event, how can you leave me alone? Hearing Chen Zhang's voice, Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin's delicate bodies trembled. After that they looked towards the direction of the voice in pleasant surprise. It was indeed Chen Shang. Chapter 1196. Seeing Chen Shang suddenly appear, Leng Yulan flew over and hugged Chen Shang tightly. Seeing Chen Shang suddenly appear, Leng Yulan flew over and hugged Chen Shang tightly. Brother, I knew you could break that bastard's seal, ha ha eh, Leng Yulan laughed as he patted Chen Zhang's back. Shui Shenxian let out a small sigh of relief. All these years, they had been extremely nervous, because if the Fire Divine Palace attacked the Chen Martial Continent, it would not be easy to defend against. It had to be known that the Fire Divine Palace had allied many forces, and there were even people from the Demon and Devil realms. Seeing that Chen Shang had returned, Shui Shenxian, who had been tensed up for many days, finally relaxed. This was because in her heart, Chen Shang could solve all the dangers. Chen Shang lightly embraced Shui Shenxian and kissed her forehead. Then he smiled and said, Shenxian, I feel like you and elder sister Menga are becoming more and more similar. Little scoundrel, you think of elder sister Menga all day. Shui Shenxian scoffed. Bro, you came out of that damn seal, why is there no news at all? Leng Yulan was very excited at this moment, because he was sure that he would be able to charge in together with Chen Shang during the great battle. Shui Shenxian quickly understood the reason and smiled at Leng Yulan. Yulan, I'm afraid that even Fire Divine Palace doesn't know about my husband coming out. The palace lord should still be there, standing guard at death's door. Leng Yulan also understood at this moment, and immediately nodded. So that's how it is, then that means, when the time comes, Big Bro will secretly make his move. Chen Shang said. Not only that, we still have some plans, and we need you to cooperate. This will severely injure the Fire Divine Palace and the other forces. Shui Shenxian said. What plan? Chen Shang took out the list of names, then told the two girls about him impersonating the golden-faced ghost killer and sneaking into the alliance. When the time comes, I will need your cooperation. What you need to do is let the outside world, and even the disciples of Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and Icy Wind Valley know that all of the important people on the list who are related to you are dead. Shui Shenxian immediately understood. They want us to fake our deaths, and let the Fire Divine Palace's alliance mistake us for a mess. When they attack, we can gather our forces to ambush them and eliminate them. Exactly, their alliance will definitely gather a large portion of their elites to attack you, and when the time comes, we will also send out all our strength to kill this group of people, and my dragon subduing school will have made the arrangements. Leng Yulan said. When the time comes for us to come back from the dead and join the battle, wouldn't that mean that you won't be able to continue living in that alliance? Chen Shang laughed. You can participate in the battle, but don't let others find out. Shui Shenxian said. If we fake our deaths, at the same time, we can give the successors that we nurture a chance for them to gain experience. You guys have already groomed the successor. The man is still the woman. Shui Shenxian rolled her eyes at him. Little scoundrel, are you that concerned about this? As long as the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and its people pretended to be dead, half of the people on the list would be sent out. Chen Shang felt that he could go back and submit his mission now. In that case, you'd better make the arrangements tonight, and send out the news of your deaths tomorrow morning, The time of death has to be better, we cannot let Icy Wind Valley and Divine Weapons Heavenly Country die together. I will go find Qianshan and have her bring some people over. Quote. I will find a few elders to discuss it. If nothing goes wrong, you will know the news of my death in the morning. Shui Shenxian laughed mischievously. Then what about me? When should I die? Leng Yulan asked with a smile. You are together. Time can be the same. Chen Shang caressed her white hair, and laughed. When the time comes, I'll fake my death. Don't jump out or else my plan will be ruined. Leng Yulan pouted. Don't think so badly of me, I've played with this kind of scheme before. After discussing with Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan, Chen Shang anxiously headed towards Dan Fragrance Pure Land. He had used a transformation technique to quietly go in, he did not want anyone else to see him looking for people. Wu Qianshan was just as busy as the two women in the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. She wanted to refine pills, cultivate and nurture the next leader. Deep into the night, Wu Qianshan busied herself for the entire day, soaking in the hot spring inside the cave, using the spirit spring water to dispel fatigue, strengthening her body, and nourishing the veins in her body. Just as she was bathing in the water comfortably, she heard a cough, which startled her, causing her to release a ball of white light aura, wrapping her body with spirit spring water, and taking out a treasured sword. Qianshan, it's me, Chen Shang said from outside the stone room. Chen Shang. Wu Qianshan was shocked, He anxiously kept his sword and donned on his clothes, then walked out of the stone room with the spirit spring. The cave that Wu Qianchen resided in was protected extremely well by the array. Even if someone used a jade plate to enter, she would immediately know. At this critical moment, Wu Qianchen was very happy to be able to come out from the seal, but she looked at Chen Shang strangely. Wu Qianchen's hair was drenched, her body was dressed in a simple robe, she looked extremely charming and seductive. Chen Shang saw Wu Qianchen looking at him that way, and immediately explained, "I didn't peek." Wu Qianchen laughed, "I didn't say you were spying on me." After that, Wu Qianchen leaned on Chen Zhang's chest, gently hugging Chen Zhang's tiger waist, and said gently, "It's good that you're back, all these years you've been worried to death about me." Chen Shang kissed his lips and said, "I came out from that seal, Fire Divine Palace does not know about it." Wu Qianchen sensed that Chen Shang had something important to tell her, so he nodded. She, who was familiar with Chen Shang, could also think of something. Chen Shang told her the plan. After hearing it, Wu Qianchen asked, "What do I need to do when the time comes?" "If news of Yulan and Shenxian's death spreads, you will secretly issue an order to the Dan Fragrance Pure Land to support them. You said that to protect them from being attacked, but for specific actions, I will inform you when the time comes." Chen Shang gave some of Wu Qianchen's ingredients, all of them were of a higher rank, allowing her to learn how to refine higher-ranked pills. After leaving the Dan Fragrance Pure Land, Chen Shang headed towards the sacred Yan city, waiting for the news to spread out. The Chen martial continent had always been attacked by many forces, especially in these few years, it had been very ordinary. It was because the legend said that it would be the center of the new imperial heaven world, and that there would be a second dragon vein that would lead to this disaster. At dawn, the news spread to sacred Yan city. Divine Weapons Heavenly Country S and some important elders in Divine Weapons Heavenly Country all died due to poison. At this time, the entire Divine Weapons Heavenly Country was in chaos. Chapter 1197. Everyone knew the reason for being assassinated. As long as they could take down Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, they would be able to enter the center of the Chen martial continent. From the looks of the death, some people could already guess that it was Ghost Killing School who did it, because Ghost Killing School was an expert in using poison. Chen Shang immediately headed towards the sacred Fire Mountain. Only half of the people on the list of names that the Fire Divine Palace had given him had been assassinated, but he felt that it was enough for the Fire Divine Palace to gather their men and attack. Shui Shenxian is Chen Zhang's wife and Leng Yulan is Chen Zhang's recognized sister. If they die, how are we supposed to threaten Chen Shang in the future? This group of people, they actually messed up my plans. When they were doing this, they didn't notify me. When the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace heard this news, he was extremely furious. Back then, Chen Shang had also thought of this problem, so he guessed that there was a conflict within the Fire Divine Palace, that Hall Master wanted to threaten him, and there were some people who wanted to attack the Chen martial continent in a hurry. This made guess that there might be an immortal king hidden in the Fire Divine Palace's headquarters, if not the immortal monarch would not have dared to pass that name list to him. Palace Lord, it seems like that fellow can't wait. What do we do now? Do we continue to guard this place? An old man asked the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace. HMPH, of course we have to guard this place. If Chen Shang comes out and finds out about this, I dare say that he will definitely go on a killing spree. This group of idiots, how could they have never thought about the importance of these two women? The Fire Divine Palace's palace master was extremely furious. The powerhouses were all shocked. The new leader of the Super Martial School and a few clan elders had also received the message from the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country to ask for reinforcements. They wanted them to be prepared as the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country would become the biggest breach in their attack on the Chen martial continent at that time. The other powers of the Chen martial continent were also the same, and the Dragon Subduing School had sent out a large number of elites. On the other hand, people like Yun Xiaodao who had good relations with Chen Shang, who were unaware, were extremely furious. However, they were calmed down by Duan Chong and Li Baojun, and told them to calm down, and prepare to fight. All of their reactions were as Chen Shang had expected, he was already disguised as the golden-faced ghost killer and was heading towards the Sacred Fire School. He had just left Holy Yan City when he sensed someone following him. He pretended that he didn't know and continued to move forward. When they were far away from Holy Yan City and entered a forest, the people following him suddenly increased their speed and rushed towards him. This is Ghost Killing School, Red Face Ghost Killer. Chen Shang was shocked. Through his Heaven Tour method, he saw that the person chasing after him was wearing a black robe and a red mask. This was the legendary red-faced ghost killer. Chen Shang did not increase his speed to get rid of them, because they were his own people, but he felt that something was amiss, if not the red-faced ghost killer would not have chased after him. In the mysterious red-faced ghost killer, no one had told him his true appearance, nor did anyone know how long he had survived. No one knew of his strength, no one had heard his voice, and although he rarely showed his face, he was able to control the entire ghost-killing school. Red-faced ghost killer appeared in front of Chen Shang. The aura from his body made Chen Shang feel nervous. The red-faced ghost killer was very strong, it made him feel that it was difficult to deal with them. You killed all those people. Red-faced ghost killer actually spoke. Her voice was extremely low and gloomy, it was the voice of an old lady. This red-faced ghost killer was actually a woman. Yes, Chen Shang replied coldly. He was worried that he would be seen through, so he was already prepared to fight. I don't think you have the ability to do so. Red-faced ghost killer's voice suddenly became colder. But I did it. Chen Shang never thought that the red-faced ghost killer would suspect something because of this. He only hoped that the red-faced ghost killer did not come into contact with the people from the Fire Divine Palace, or else his plan would be in vain. This should have been done by me together with you. You should know how you did it if you couldn't kill those people. Chen Shang had indeed thought about this before, because the people on that list were indeed difficult to kill. Back then, the reason the Fire Divine Palace gave him this list of names, was probably because of this ghost-killing school. Chen Shang obviously could not tell the leader of the ghost-killing school, so he made a bet that the ghost killer would not secretly pursue this matter. However, the red-faced ghost killer was extremely cautious, and had chased after him. You shouldn't have doubted my strength. Chen Shang said coldly. Oh, by doing this, could it be that you think you have more power than me? You want to use this matter to prove that you are qualified to be the ghost-killing king. Red-faced ghost killer was furious. Chen Shang now understood and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Originally, red-faced ghost killer was worried that he would usurp the position of, but there was indeed such a cruel rule of power in ghost-killing school. And there was only one red-faced ghost killer on top of the golden-faced ghost killer, which was also known as the ghost-killing king, so killing them wouldn't be easy. That's right, I've been missing your mask for a long time. Chen Shang felt the other party's killing intent and quickly threw out a punch, hitting red-faced ghost killer on the shoulder. The red-faced ghost killer had prepared for this long ago, but she was still shocked by the thunder-like attack. It was just as she said previously, this golden-faced ghost killer should not have such strength. There are no fluctuations of the innate chi, could it be the strength of a physical body? Red-faced ghost killer was unable to dodge it. The moment the fist landed on his shoulder, he immediately guessed this power in his mind. No, this is. Red-faced ghost killer suddenly felt that after his left shoulder was hit, it suddenly became lighter and softer. Upon closer inspection, all the bones in his left arm and left shoulder had disappeared. The bone-melting magic palm could directly decompose bones. It was one of the supreme devil arts of the devil realm. The other party actually knew this devil art. This caused red-faced ghost killer to be incomparably shocked, and now she felt that the other party had the strength to kill an important figure of the divine weapon's heavenly country. I want your mask. Chen Zhang's second punch urgently arrived, landing on red-faced ghost killer's other shoulder. This red-faced ghost killer's strength was around the late period of human immortal, and according to Long Shui's judgment, he should be at the peak of the worldly immortal stage, just a step away from becoming an immortal monarch. On the other hand, with the power of the body of heavenly sage and the innate chi, it would not be difficult for Chen Shang to turn the opponent's weak bones into ashes by using the bone-melting magic palm. Wishful thinking. I don't think that just because you understand the bone-melting magic palm you can kill me. A pink mist suddenly appeared from red-faced ghost killer's body. It was unexpectedly a type of extremely poisonous mist. Like an evil spirit, it extended its claws and bared its fangs and enveloped Chen Shang. Ghost-killing school was an expert in the use of poison. Everyone knew that it was normal for there to be such a powerful poison. After Chen Shang was enveloped by the pink mist, he saw countless steel spikes flying towards him. If it was anyone else, their body would have countless of holes in an instant, and they were all highly toxic. Chapter 1198. No one knew about her background. Therefore, she believed that in the battle, with her unfathomable strength, she would have the upper hand, especially those powerful poisons, which she had spent a large amount of money to collect. However, she too did not know what kind of person she was facing. It seemed like she knew Golden-Faced Ghost Killer very well, but in reality, that was not the case, but rather the sealed Chen Shang. If one were to compare using poison, Chen Shang could be the ancestor of this red-faced ghost killer. When the steel needles pierced through his body, he had already moved aside, leaving only an illusion behind. What? It's an illusion. Red-faced ghost killer immediately saw through it and at the same time fiercely dodged the punch. Just who are you? This red-faced ghost killer already knew, the golden-faced ghost killer in front of her was not the person she was familiar with. Dead people don't need to know so much. Chen Zhang's eyes flashed, releasing a burst of red light. Countless red threads shot out from her eyes, congealing an immense power, and instantly pierced through the red-faced ghost killer's body. Every single thread broke the bones and meridians in her body, and two thicker red rays of light penetrated her dantian and heart. Red-faced ghost killer also cultivated a demonic art, so he knew how strong the demon eye of permeability was. It was a type of terrifying energy ray that gathered all the strength in his body, causing it to be able to penetrate deeply into one's body, making it impossible to defend against, as it came out of an unexpected eye. As long as he saw the red light exploding in the other party's eyes, it meant that his own body had been penetrated. Chen Shang rarely used his devil arts, but when he used them again and again, it caused his enemies to die in despair and fear. You can leave your mask to me. In the end, Chen Shang struck the top of red-faced ghost killer's head with his palm, using the soul-absorbing devil spell to try and plunder his memories. But this red-faced ghost killer actually shattered her soul in that instant, not allowing Chen Shang to succeed. She knew that it was the soul-absorbing devil spell, so after using it, her soul would definitely scatter. So she destroyed her own soul, and also did not let Chen Shang obtain her memories. Some of your masks are enough. Chen Shang took off the mask and took away the communication talismans. Without even looking at the red-faced ghost killer's face, he burned it to ashes. Chen Shang changed into a red mask and continued heading towards Sacred Yan City. He would be using his identity as the red-faced ghost killer to head towards Sacred Fire School, and his position would be even higher at that time. Furthermore, he didn't need to fake the identity of the red-faced ghost killer. He could confess that he had obtained the red-faced ghost killer's identity himself. The Sacred Fire School had already gathered all the higher-ups of the various forces. Although none of them had come, they were all people who held authority in their own forces. At the same time, they were people that all the big shots of the various forces trusted them. Everyone was waiting for Ghost Killing School, although Ghost Killing School did not kill all of the people on the list, but to be able to kill more than half of the people made everyone very satisfied. Originally, they did not expect to be able to kill all of the people, because the people on the list were not ordinary people. To be able to kill a few in one night, he must have been famous for a long time. Everyone was waiting in the secret room, but the person who suddenly entered scared them. The person who came was actually a man wearing a red mask. Wasn't this the Ghost Killing King, the strongest one in the entire Ghost Killing School, the leader's leader? Although the leader of the Ghost Killing School was not the strongest, his ability to kill scared many big shots of the. Most of the people who were targeted by the red-faced ghost killer would not even be able to survive. The Immortal Monarch was startled for a moment, because it was his first time meeting this Ghost Killing King. Previously, he had guessed that this Ghost Killing King's strength should be at the peak of the late period of human immortal, so if his assassination skills were superb, killing an early-stage Immortal Monarch would not be impossible. This, Ghost Killing King, why have you come personally? The Fire Divine Palace asked. Can't I come? Hearing this familiar voice, everyone was stunned, because this voice was the mirrored ghost killer that they had met before. This guy actually had a red mask, and everyone immediately knew what was going on. This guy actually exterminated the Ghost Killing King after assassinating the higher-ups of the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, and obtained this red mask. This kind of strength made everyone secretly admire him, and they were even more vigilant, because this kind of guy was too dangerous. I had originally planned to go to Lotus Island on the second day. However, after the incident with Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, it would be difficult for Lotus Island to make a move on me. Chen Shang revealed the reason why he was only half done. It's enough. As long as we get a few Divine Weapons Heavenly Country-s, the entire Chen Martial continent would be fine, we can just kill one each. The person from the devil race said. Chen Shang said coldly, let me first say this, my Ghost Killing School has already lost a lot of people this time. When we attack, only I will participate, at that time I will secretly cooperate with you. As for your Fire Divine Palace, the strongest amongst us, you guys don't just randomly send some shrimp soldiers or crab generals. Everyone secretly despised the new ghost-killing king. He killed the old ghost-killing king with less people, but he was just saying that Fire Divine Palace was the strongest. He should have sent the strongest guy to pave the way for them. The Immortal Monarch said, "Of course, our Fire Divine Palace and our Sacred Fire School will mobilize our strongest forces to ensure that we can smoothly take down the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. Then, we can defend the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and finally launch an all-out attack to take down the other sects in the Chen Martial continent." The Divine Weapons Heavenly Country was just a stronghold. As long as they could capture it successfully, the Demon and Devil realms would send a large amount of elites, and the forces of the Human Realm and the Fire Divine Palace Alliance would be the same. As long as the Chen Martial continent was missing a Divine Weapons Heavenly Country to provide them with powerful weapons and treasures, the Chen Martial continent's overall strength would be weakened, and they would be easier to capture. The Divine Weapons Heavenly Country provided a large amount of weapons and treasures, allowing him to set up many powerful formations. His defensive power was extremely strong, so he was also seen as a breakthrough. Following that, everyone began to discuss the route and plan of the attack. They had already announced the number of people they would send and so on. They were all very important things, and they were all memorized by Chen Qiang in his mind. As long as he confirmed those plans, he would get Long Shui to think of a way to pass these important things to Li Baojun, Shui Shenxian and Wu Qianchen as soon as possible, so that they could prepare for an ambush. The Fire Divine Palace's side also needed to move quickly to prevent the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country from becoming more stable, so they too were in a hurry and did not consider too many details. Chapter 1199. The Fire Divine Palace and the other powers in the alliance were very confident in this operation. After the meeting, everyone was full of smiles, and the happiest person was Chen Qiang. This was because he was very confident in his own operation. "We will begin our teleportation at night. I have already informed our people to construct the transmission array at a secret location far away from Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. Tonight, we will complete our teleportation," the Immortal Monarch said. "When the time comes, it will be led by Leader Yang. Does anyone have any objections?" Chen Qiang was not so worried now. If he were to go with the Immortal Monarch, it would be very troublesome at that time. Just holding on to the Immortal Monarch would consume a lot of energy. Everyone left and went to mobilize their own people. They began a busy teleportation to gather in a secret forest. Because the ghost-killing school had given a lot of effort and assassinated a few important people, coupled with the fact that the people of the ghost-killing school were not suitable to take part in this kind of operation, the ghost-killing school did not need to send any disciples. Even the new ghost-killing king did not need to go. Chen Qiang told them that he would go, but that he would conceal himself and make his move. When the time came, they would need to send out the most people. Even the Fire Divine Palace was the same, so the transmission array that was built here was very large. Chen Qiang used this transmission array to follow the first batch of people to the Chen Martial continent. After arriving, Chen Qiang immediately used the communication jade symbol paper to contact Duan Chong. "Elder Duan, how are your preparations?" Chen Qiang was already hiding. As a ghost-killing king, no one could direct him. "They are all waiting outside the borders of the Divine Weapon Kingdom. We have brought over 20,000 elites as well as powerful formation plates refined by the Iron Lion Army. At that time, how many people will come to attack the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country?" Duan Chong asked. "In order to take over the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country in one breath, they have increased their power. When the time comes, there will be 1,000,000 of them. So many. If I wasn't prepared and got attacked all of a sudden, I would have definitely been defeated." Duan Chong took a small breath. "There are many of them, but they might not be very strong." Chen Qiang said. "I think back to when the various powers in the Chen Martial continent and the people that the Dragon Subduing School sent out were all elite disciples. It would definitely be very easy to deal with those evil demons. The disciples of our Dragon Subduing School have all grown up through cruel training. They will definitely be able to display a very strong strength in this battle," Duan Chong said with complete confidence. After that, Chen Qiang contacted Shui Shenxian. "Shenxian, when the time comes, if you and Yulan want to make a move, you must hide well. If I know that you two are still alive, I might not be able to continue staying in this alliance." Chen Qiang was a little worried for the fiery Leng Yulan, worried that this violent dragon girl would not be able to hold it in. "I know that. Tell me about their detailed attack plan," Shui Shenxian asked. "Right now, they are transferring a large number of people to the Chen Martial continent, and are hiding in an ancient forest. When it is about time, they will attack. Chen Shang told her the route and told her to pass it on to Wu Qianchen. Duan Chong passed the message to the super martial school. They had long secretly discussed about the powers of Lotus Island. There were actually more than 500,000 evil demon, but their overall strength was extremely weak, and should be something to throw away their lives for. At the moment, this group of evil demon were extremely noisy. After going through a resolution from the crowd, they had to bring all the evil demon up for the kill first, specifically to drain the opponent's strength. Chen Shang hid himself so that when he found out, he would feel that something was wrong. If these 500,000 evil demon were to be at the front line, the hidden elites would definitely be exposed and their plans would be affected. Therefore, Chen Shang decided to make a move himself. At the same time, he also told Duan Chong and the others that these evil demon would rush to their deaths, telling them to be cautious and not to reveal too much of their strength. The sky was about to brighten, with hundreds of thousands of evil demons shouting all kinds of words. They were mighty like a wave as they rushed towards the borders of Divine Weapon's heavenly country. As long as this group of evil demons passed through, all the flowers, plants and trees would be nibbled away, becoming wasteland. The people behind the evil demon were silently cursing the group of evil demon who were still unconscious, causing the mountain forest to be completely barren, making it impossible for them to hide behind it at all. This caused the millions of people to not have any form of concealment, and they quickly followed behind the group of evil demon. It's my turn to take action. Chen Shang had already become a middle-aged man. Suddenly, he fell from the sky, and the moment his feet touched the ground began to shake violently. Are you guys invading the Divine Weapon's heavenly country? Chen Shang said loudly. When the sound wave spread out, it stirred a wave of energy, causing the group of evil demon to retreat while shouting. The power of Fire Divine Palace was not surprised by the sudden appearance of one person. The death of an important person in Divine Weapon's heavenly country would cause them to expect that someone would attack, but they thought that there were no powerful people in Divine Weapon's heavenly country anymore, so they were not afraid. Just when Chen Shang sensed that there were a few rankers flying over from behind the group of evil demon, he immediately roared and released a sharp and ear-piercing roar, causing everyone to be able to see the space rippling like a ripple. It was the power of a sound wave, actually shaking the space. The huge sound wave's power rushed towards the group of evil demons. In an instant, it pierced through the hundreds of thousands of evil demons who were shouting in the sky like a hot knife through butter. This is the sound kill magic power, everybody be careful. The expression of one of the experts from the demon realm changed drastically as he hastily let out a deafening roar. The sound kill magic power was a divine art of the sacred Dan realm. It was as famous as the heart-piercing demon eye, bone-melting magic palm, and soul-absorbing devil spell, a devil art that could pierce the ears like thunder in the demon realm. No matter if it was used for group attacks or individual attacks, it still possessed a terrifying power. Chen Shang roared again and again. The terrifying killing intent set off sets of sound waves that contained endless killing intent, and after the group of evil demon were struck by the sound wave, their bodies started to crack, and then suddenly exploded. Several 100,000 evil demons, in this short period of time, had already exploded into a cloud of blood mist, causing the place to become a place of death which was filled with dense and terrifying blood mist. However, Chen Zhang's sound wave did not weaken in the slightest, as he crazily roared. The people from the Fire Divine Palace were furious, especially the big shots of the demon realm. They did not expect such a guy to suddenly appear. With just a few roars, his evil demon army was annihilated, leaving not even his corpse behind. Chen Shang had only roared for a short period of time before that group of evil demons all turned into blood mist. Those people who knew how to circulate their energy and protect their bodies, coupled with the fact that Chen Zhang's sound kill magic power was used against a large area of enemies, did not let the Alliance's army die. Chapter 1200. As the commander of this attack, Yang Jutao suddenly felt a lot of pressure, because the progress was not as smooth as they had imagined. In order for the army to continue, he had sent a few powerful elders of the Sacred Fire School to deal with Chen Shang. Suddenly, a few clan elders from the Sacred Fire School surrounded them. Their strengths were not weak. Chen Shang had seen them at the Sacred Fire School before, but he never thought that these old fellows would have such strong powers, and that the things in their hands were all powerful people, and that these swords were all immortal swords. At this time, Chen Shang could not use the Green Dragon Demon Slain Broadsword and the Hammer of God, because the Ice Emperor was exterminated by the person holding the Black Hammer. If he used it now, and the Fire Divine Palace knew, the Hall Master would definitely come over immediately. An eagle's cry came from far away, and a Qilin with eagle wings flew over. It turned out to be a Kylan Thunder Eagle. The ones in the lead were all familiar with Chen Shang. Yun Xiaodao, Zhu Rong, XV Weilong and the others, as they were all very strong at the moment, and the elite auras they led were also very valiant, rushing straight into the million-strong army. Duan Chong and Li Baojun had also appeared. They were mainly forcing those old fellows with strong powers to appear, so that the youngsters wouldn't have to face those old bastards. The sudden appearance of these 20 to 30,000 men was a brutal attack. Killing was like cutting grass in this army of 1 million men. A large number of them fell in an instant. "This is the Dragon Subduing School's man." An old man exclaimed, "Why are they here? Didn't they say that Dragon Subduing School is already on the verge of death? How are they still so powerful? You bastards, we have been guarding here for several years just to wait for you stupid pigs." Li Baojun sneered, holding his Kylan fan, he started to fight with the few elders. Dragon Subduing School led the way, and after they participated in the battle, the people of Super Martial School, Lotus Island and Dan Fragrance Pure Land also rushed in. The army of Divine Weapons Heavenly Country suddenly appeared behind the million-strong army, took out their fine weapons, and rushed towards the invaders. The reason the Alliance of the Fire Divine Palace acted so quickly was to prevent such a thing from happening. With the high-ranking members of the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country being assassinated, as long as anyone with a brain could guess that it was them, they would definitely prevent them from invading anymore. But now that they saw a large group of people here, they knew that after the incident with the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, the powers of the Chen Martial Continent had all gathered here, waiting for them to come. Although they had expected this to happen, they hadn't expected it to happen so quickly. "Just who are you? You know the sound kill magic power. I didn't think that the Chen Martial Continent would collude with the demon world." An old man shouted to Chen Shang. It was clear that he wanted the sound kill magic power. Chen Shang, who was surrounded by the few elderly men, said angrily, "What's wrong with that? Didn't you guys collude with the demon world? What's more, the people in the demon world are not always unforgivable, and not everyone in the human realm is good either. For example, you old bastards. Demon realm caused such a big death or injury to the human realm. Just sit here and watch and do nothing. Instead you guys are attacking Divine Weapons Heavenly Country." Chen Shang was not afraid of all these old fellows. His words had angered all the old men, causing them to not care about morality. They all joined hands to attack Chen Shang, all of them releasing extremely powerful attacks, fists, kicks, blades, all at the same time. The dense innate chi spewed out brilliant rays of light that shot towards Chen Shang. Hearing the series of thunderclaps, many of the experts were shocked. This was because it was the power of the 9th floor of the Devil Subduing Method. Although the simple learning version of the Devil Subduing Method allowed many people to learn the Devil Subduing Method, it was still very difficult to learn the 9th floor. There weren't many people who could learn the 9 levels, and one of the people that people were most familiar with was Devil Subduing College's principal, Zuo Junxuan. Of course Zuo Junxuan would come. He also didn't know whether Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin were faking their deaths, so when he heard the news, he was extremely furious. Adding to that, he had already known that the Fire Divine Palace would fight with the Chen Martial Continent sooner or later. "Zuo Junxuan, your Devil Subduing College has always been neutral," an old man said angrily. Out of the few elders that surrounded Chen Shang, only 2 remained. The rest were all killed by Zuo Junxuan. "Our Devil Subduing College has always relied on killing demons and devils as the foundation. If you join hands with the devils, we will treat you as demons and treat you as nothing more than demons. The students you sent to the Devil Subduing College to learn the art of defeating devils are all very clear on this point. When you colluded with the demons to deal with the humans, you should have this kind of awareness." Zuo Junxuan's old face was extremely gloomy, bringing with him endless slavery. A fist had already been thrown out. The Berserk Devil Subduing Method smashed the 2 old men into pieces. "Elder Zuo, I am Chen Shang." Chen Shang sent a sound transmission to Zuo Junxuan. He knew the position of the Devil Subduing College, which was why he did not go and find Zuo Junxuan. Zuo Junxuan nodded, and he seemed to have suddenly understood something. "Your wife and recognized sister Chen Shang laughed, then looked down at the chaos below. Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin had already disguised themselves and snuck in, specifically killing the stronger disciples. "Everything is fine," Chen Shang replied. "That's good. Young people, do you look down on old bones like me? You don't call me for this sort of thing," Zuo Junxuan reprimanded. "That's because of the position of the Devil Subduing College." Chen Shang did not want the Devil Subduing College to be viewed with hostility by the Fire Divine Palace because of this matter. He was well aware of the Fire Divine Palace's strength, and Zuo Junxuan was only strong here. Don't worry, I've already said it before, these fellows colluding with demons to deal with humans is the enemy of my devil-subduing college. Since they are here, I will do my best to help you guys. When Zuo Junxuan saw that Li Baojun was being attacked by more than 10 Devil Realms demon immortals, he immediately rushed forward and used his powerful demon fighter to join the battle. It's all because of you, you bastard. If not for your words, we would have already snuck into the divine weapon's heavenly country. A golden light flashed and arrived. Chen Shang anxiously avoided the cold-killing intent of the golden blade, and the person who attacked him was Sacred Fire School's Yang Jutao. This Yang Jutao had the strength of late period of human immortal, so his furious attack was rather powerful. The impact caused the air to vibrate, and after slashing through the air, the force struck the ground, creating a huge crack. You will never succeed. Chen Shang immediately welcomed the incoming fist with his own, striking towards the golden blade that was filled with berserk power. Seeing that the other party had used his fist to receive the blade and was even striking towards the edge of the blade, Yang Jutao was shocked. He thought that he would slash at Chen Zhang's fist, but who knew that his golden blade would actually strike at Chen Zhang's fist, as though it had hit a hard object.